into the villa's hall. Fortunately, Zhuo Xiaojing and Zhuo Wuyang had come down. Who dares to cause trouble here? Zhuo Xiaojing leapt forward to block the intruder. However, the young man barely glanced at him, his eyes fixed on Zhuo Wuyang. Zhuo Wuyang, you really are here. A glimmer of joy crossed his face as he charged straight at Zhuo Wuyang. Zhuo Xiaojing felt ignored and was furious, stepping in front to protect his father. Who are you? Why did you hurt our people? How did you find this place? The young man recognized that Zhuo Xiaojing was also a martial artist and gave a cold smile. I am Jin, who from the Jin family in Liaodong. As for how I found you, it took quite some effort. I originally thought you were still in Cayenne City, but that was a dead end. It took a while to finally locate you. He looked Zhuo Xiaojing up and down. Who are you? Zhuo Xiaojing stood tall and pointed to Zhuo Wuyang. I am Zhuo Xiaojing, and this is my dad. Jin, who shook his head with a sneer. Zhuo Wuyang is a legendary figure. Yet how did he raise such a waste like you? Step aside, you are no match for me. Zhuo Xiaojing's face flushed with anger. What do you think you are? How dare you say I'm not capable? Without further ado, he threw a punch. Jin, who countered with a punch of his own. Bang! Jin, who remained unmoved while Zhuo Xiaojing was knocked to the ground. Zhuo Wuyang, these years must have been tough for you, right? Jin, who ignored Zhuo Xiaojing and pressed closer to Zhuo Wuyang. How much strength do you still have left? It wouldn't be difficult for you to even walk, would it? Zhuo Wuyang felt a mix of suspicion and uncertainty. Who exactly is this young man? Why does he seem so familiar with my situation? Jin? From the Jin family in Liaodong? Could it be? Jin, who noticed his confusion. That's right, I am the son of Jin Beidou. I don't want to dwell on the grievances between you and my father from back then. However, you must give me the half map you have. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind sending your family off to the next life sooner than planned. Zhuo Wuyang's heart trembled. You came for the map? Jin, who nodded. Having a treasure brings trouble. You should understand this principle. With your current strength, you can no longer protect this map. You might as well hand it over obediently to ensure your family's safety. Zhuo Xiaojing got up from the ground. You dream on, Jin. He stood firmly in front of his father, not allowing Jin Hu the chance to strike. But he forgot that Jin Hu didn't need to sneak attack. A direct force was enough to wipe out the father and son. Fortunately, Zhuo Xiaojing had secretly called for help from Qin Yang while he was on the ground. Now he was just thinking about how to buy some time. Jin Hu's expression turned cold. You're unwilling to hand it over? Zhuo Wuyang sighed deeply. Jin, it's not that we don't want to give it to you, but the map is not with me at the moment. Jin Hu raised an eyebrow in surprise. Not with you? That's impossible. How could you not keep such an important item close? Zhuo Wuyang shook his head. It's not that it's kept elsewhere, but I've already given it to someone else. Jin Hu became even more skeptical. You could give such an important thing to someone else. He looked at Zhuo Xiaojing. Did you give it to your son? Zhuo Wuyang's expression was regretful. Jin, you arrived a step too late. A couple of days ago, I just handed it over to a master. He is a rising star from a martial arts family, with remarkable talent in martial arts and an unfathomable current realm. He personally came to ask me for it, and I couldn't dare refuse. Jin Hu frowned. A martial arts family? This complicates things. What is his name? Where is he now? Zhuo Wuyang continued to stall for time. This master has a very bad temper. How could I dare to reveal his information? Jin Hu was wary of that person, but not afraid of this father and son. Are you going to say it or not? Do you believe I can send you both on your way right now? His temper flared. He clenched his fists, ready to smash Zhuo Wuyang at any moment. Zhuo Wuyang felt a headache coming on. This kid is both ferocious and reckless. If this drags on, I might get beaten up. That master is. That person is me. At the entrance, a young man strode in with confidence. It was Qin Yang. Zhuo Xiaojing was overjoyed. Yang, if you don't come back soon, my dad and I will be beaten to death. Zhuo Wuyang also felt a little relieved, but he didn't completely relax. This guy, Jin Hu, is indeed powerful. I wonder if Qin Yang can match him? Jin Hu turned his head and looked at Qin Yang. Are you the owner of this villa, Qin Yang? Qin Yang was a bit surprised. No wonder you were able to find me. You did some investigation on me? Jin Hu laughed heartily. Of course, you're quite capable. But you're still not my match. If you're smart, you'd better stay away. His eyes gleamed with menace, filled with threats. Zhuo Wuyang quickly explained. This person is Jin Beidou's son, Jin Hu. His target is half of the map. Qin Yang's heart tightened. So this is the son of that traitor. Years ago, Uncle Zhuo was poisoned, but the traitor Jin Beidou wasn't. He managed to seize half of the map and escape from danger. His cultivation remained intact. The disciple he trained must be much stronger than Zhuo Xiaojing. Qin Yang quietly heightened his vigilance. So you're Jin Hu? You don't need to look for Uncle Zhuo. That half of the map is with me. If you have the ability, come and take it. Jin Hu was overjoyed. He extended his hand, saying, you'd better hand over the map. Otherwise, once we start fighting, I can't guarantee your life. Qin Yang shook his head. Such a treasure. How could I just give it away? If you have the ability, defeat me, and the map will be yours. Jin Hu clenched his fists. You want to die? I'll grant your wish. As soon as he finished speaking, a punch flew towards Qin Yang's face. Qin Yang intended to test his strength as well. He threw a punch to block. Bang! A loud noise echoed, and the air in the room was turbulent from their punches. Both retreated 5 steps, surprisingly ending up in a stalemate. Jean, who was slightly taken aback, but even more excited. Good kid, you have some skills. Come again. He increased his strength, unleashing a powerful set of punches that came at Qinyang like a storm. Qinyang's arms went numb. He didn't dare to confront him head-on. He had given his all in that last punch, while it seemed his opponent had held back. In terms of strength, he was far inferior. Chapter 218. Each with their own schemes. Who's really scheming against whom? Lacking in strength, he compensated with speed. Next, Qinyang fully adopted a guerrilla tactic, utilizing his agility to the fullest. This left Jean, who quite frustrated. Jean, whose advantage lay in his overwhelming force and dominance, while Qinyang's characteristics were flexibility and unpredictability. You're always avoiding. What kind of hero does that make you? Jean, who chased after Qinyang, but could never land a solid hit. He felt empty inside, like his punch had landed on cotton. Qinyang ignored him, continuing to evade without striking. Nonsense. In the face of life and death, what does face matter? Jean, who grumbled, forget it. I'm not wasting time with you. He withdrew his fists and turned to leave. Qinyang was a bit surprised. This guy just left? He gave up so easily? As Jean, who walked away, he thought, I'll come back tonight and sneak attack. Let's see how you escape then. Many people were deceived by Jean, whose outward appearance. He seemed reckless, but he was actually quite cunning. Since the straightforward approach didn't work, he'd take the stealthy route. Qinyang was unaware of his plans and felt secretly relieved. It's better that he left. This guy, when he gets worked up, is truly unbeatable. As he watched Jean, who was about to leave the courtyard, Qinyang finally felt relieved. Ding! Triggered today's intel. Intel 4. Jean, who is determined to enter the dangerous area in search of treasure, and he will never give up. Moreover, the other half of the map is on him. Check the details of the intel. The other half of the map is hidden on Jean, who. Qinyang felt a surge of excitement. How could he have been so foolish? Why didn't he think of this earlier? He had been pondering how to find the other half of the map, and now it was right before his eyes. How could he let it slip away? Besides, Jean, who wasn't truly giving up. He was just intentionally letting out false signals to lower his guard. At any moment, he could strike unexpectedly to complete the map. No, this person must be kept here. At the very least, he must leave behind the half of the map. Brother Jean, who, please hold on. Qinyang darted forward like lightning, blocking Jean, who's path. Jean, whose expression darkened. What? Want to fight again? Qinyang slowly nodded. That's right. I didn't get enough fun earlier. Let us have another round. This time, I won back down. However, before we fight, let us make it interesting. Jean, who narrowed his eyes. Oh, what kind of stakes? Qinyang smiled. If I lose, my map goes to you. If you lose, your map goes to me. What do you say? Jean, who also smiled and nodded without hesitation. All right, it's a deal. The two quickly reached an agreement, both brimming with confidence as if this battle was already in the bag. While discussing, Qinyang had already summoned the system in his mind to initiate a random draw. Unreliable level. Ding. Draw completed. Congratulations. You have obtained a singing skill, beginner level, divine vocal cords. 10 points deducted, current remaining points, 270. His vocal cords tingled, and a wealth of singing techniques flooded his mind. Qinyang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. If it were any other time, he would be thrilled to draw a singing skill. Whether in the entertainment industry or as an internet celebrity, this skill would surely help him get ahead. But unfortunately, what time was it now? A major battle was about to break out. What he needed was a miracle drug to enhance his combat power, not some singing skill. No. He had to keep drawing. Unreliable level, let us draw again. Ding. Draw completed. Congratulations. You have obtained a stamina potion, 1 bottle. 10 points deducted. Current remaining points, 260. A bottle of potion appeared out of nowhere. Qinyang discreetly used his skills to quietly grasp the potion in his palm. And even a master like Jean, who didn't notice. Qinyang pretended to yawn, covering his mouth with his hand, and swallowed the entire bottle of potion in one go. A powerful energy quickly coursed through his limbs. The physical strength and constitution have improved significantly. In terms of strength, the effects are not very apparent. However, endurance has greatly increased. If previously he could run 50 kilometers continuously, now he can run non-stop for 500 kilometers without taking a break or drinking water. This physical condition is truly extraordinary. Checking the personal information panel. Host name, Qinyang. Host age, 22 years. Theoretical lifespan, 120 years. System level. Level 2, 3 pieces of information triggered yesterday. 1 piece today. Life skills, soulful hands. Level 4 perfect. Master driving, level 3 proficient. Beast language, level 4 perfect. Multilingual, level 4 perfect. Sharpshooter, level 4 perfect. Artistic talent, level 2 minor achievement. 5 elements resurrection needle, level 4 perfect. Divine singing voice, level 1 beginner. Special skills, personal space, level 3. 10 cubic meters, golden eyes, level 1, scanning range. 1 meter. Sound transmission, level 4. Transmission range, 30 meters. Combat skills, combat techniques, level 4 perfect. Empty hand techniques, level 4 perfect. Invisible. Heart crushing techniques, level 4 perfect. Heart crushing with one palm. Star plucking techniques, level 1 beginner. Capturing dragons and taming tigers. Sky walking, level 2 minor achievement. Flying over grass. Cultivation secret techniques, none. Combat power level, intermediate warrior. Endurance potion. Strength evaluation reached the level of advanced warrior with star plucking and sky walking. Qinyang felt secretly pleased. He has gained an entry-level skill in divine singing voice. This is not much. The key is that his combat power level has reached intermediate warrior, an upgrade from the previous beginner warrior. Correspondingly, his strength evaluation has also improved from intermediate warrior to advanced warrior. Before the upgrade, Jin Hu had the strength of an intermediate warrior. They were evenly matched. Now that Qinyang has leveled up to advanced warrior, dealing with Jin Hu and obtaining the map should be a sure thing, right? This is Qinyang's little calculation. With a system in place, not taking advantage of it would be foolish. Jin Hu, let's get started. Qinyang stood confidently. Jin Hu's expression changed slightly. He could sense that in a brief moment, Qinyang's strength had subtly improved. This guy is indeed scheming. No wonder he suddenly suggested another match. It's clear he is trying to pull a fast one on me. Did he deliberately show weakness earlier? Fortunately, I have my own tricks up my sleeve. Jin Hu had a long object tied to his back. He reached out with his right hand and drew out a dazzling golden large knife, long and wide, inlaid with 7 sparkling gems. Qinyang could not discern its significance, but Zhuo Wuyang, who walked out from the main hall, recognized it at a glance. The 7-star blade? His expression turned alarmed as he immediately warned Qinyang. Yangzi, you must be careful. This is the 7-star blade, a family heirloom of the Jin family, and its power is extraordinary. Especially, the Kim family has a set of 7-star blade techniques that, when paired with a treasured blade, can unleash tremendous lethality, enough to defeat opponents of higher ranks. Chapter 219. I've set my eyes on your seed, Jin Hu. That blade of yours is impressive. Qinyang felt a bit apprehensive about the 7-star treasure blade. However, I'm empty-handed, and you have a blade. Isn't that a bit unfair? Jin Hu sneered. You could find a blade too. I'll wait for you. Qinyang was speechless. Can I use a kitchen knife? He decided not to say more. Come on. Even without a blade, I'm not afraid of you. The two engaged in another fierce battle. Qinyang was unarmed, while Jin Hu wielded his treasured blade. Zhuo Wu felt both anxious and terrified. He didn't know that Qinyang's strength had increased once again. Fearing that Qinyang might be cut down in one strike, Zhuo Xiaojing and Bao Qingqing also felt their scalps tingle, sensing that Qinyang was in a perilous position, as if he might not hold on for another second. Only Jin Hu was secretly astonished. This guy Qinyang is like an unkillable cockroach, incredibly resilient. He was also quite slippery. Although the treasured blade was sharp, it couldn't touch the hem of his clothes. This time, both were going all out, fighting head-on. After half an hour of fierce combat, there was still no clear winner. Jin Hu's sharp edge was dulled, and he began to waver. He felt that Qinyang was gaining strength as they fought. If they continued to stalemate for another half hour, he might actually lose. Qinyang, if you don't have any other tricks up your sleeve, let us call it a draw this time. How about it? Jin Hu contemplated retreating. However, Qinyang was unwilling. No, I feel that if I hold on a little longer, I can win. Jin Hu was secretly frustrated. Damn, I really guessed right. He slashed at Qinyang and stepped out of the fighting circle. I'm done. Wait for me to go back, train hard for a year, and then I'll come find you for a showdown. Qinyang couldn't wait a year. I have a suggestion. Why don't you lend me half of the map for now? When I return from the dangerous place, I'll lend you the whole map. What do you think? Jin Hu glared at him. Not a chance. By the time you come back, you'll have picked up all the treasures, and what will I get? After saying this, without waiting for Qinyang to get closer, he quickly ran out of the villa. Qinyang wanted to chase after him, but was pulled back by Zhuo Wu. Yangzi, don't chase after him. I know you're worried about my illness. However, this Jin Hu isn't easy to deal with. If it comes to a life and death struggle, I'm afraid you'll get hurt. Qinyang looked troubled. But alas, without the map, I can't get to the mysterious place. I can't get the spiritual medicine either. Zhuo Wu's illness can't be delayed for too long. Zhuo Xiaojing felt very guilty. Yanggu has fought several times with Jin Hu for our father, yet I haven't been able to help at all. Yanggu, what should we do now? Qinyang pondered for a moment, and suddenly came up with an idea. Xiaojing, come here. Zhuo Xiaojing leaned in closer. Qinyang instructed him to quietly follow Jin Hu from a distance. Wait for the right moment, like when he is asleep or in a bustling shopping mall or street. At any time, Qinyang can notify and skillfully take the map directly from Jin Hu. Zhuo Xiaojing was delighted and immediately agreed. Qinyang reminded him to inform his master, Wang Fei, so that the two of them could look out for each other. He emphasized the importance of safety and said they should keep a distance while monitoring. Zhuo Xiaojing excitedly left. Qinyang stayed at the villa for dinner. Bao Qingqing specifically had the chef prepare several of his favorite dishes. At the dining table, Qin Yang enjoyed his meal. "Thank you, Sister Qingqing," he said. Bao Qingqing beamed. "It's what I should do." During the meal, Lu Cixi called to invite Qin Yang to her personal concert. This was Lu Cixi's first concert of the year and also the first concert since the establishment of the Sun and Moon Star Entertainment Company. Qin Yang certainly couldn't miss it. He turned to Bao Qingqing and asked, "Sister Qingqing, do you want to see Lu Cixi's concert?" Bao Qingqing's eyes lit up. "The diva Lu? I want to go." Qin Yang immediately asked Lu Cixi to prepare 2 tickets. As a result, Bao Qingqing put down her bowl and rushed to the bedroom to get ready. An hour later, Qin Yang took Bao Qingqing to the concert venue. The scene was incredibly lively. Lu Cixi was the top pop star in the country, with countless fans. Naturally, most of the audience at the concert were young men and women, either in groups or as couples. Qin Yang and Bao Qingqing, as a handsome guy and a beautiful girl, looked like a couple, drawing the attention of many onlookers. A golden boy and a jade girl, just like that. Their seats were in the front row, specifically arranged by Lu Cixi, so that Qin Yang could watch the performance up close. And it was easier for her to spot him from the stage. The venue was packed, and from the stage, one could only clearly see the first few rows. The back was a sea of heads. Gu Changhe was a young master from a prominent family in the capital, known for its significant influence in politics, business, and the military, more powerful than the Tang family. Recently, he had been pursuing a third-tier star, Sun Jejia, who was quite attractive with a sweet face and alluring figure. Upon hearing that Lu Cixi was holding a concert, she urged Gu Changhe to take her from the capital to Jiangqing. Unfortunately, they bought the tickets a bit late and couldn't get front-row seats. They ended up sitting in the second row. Sun Jejia, noticing the beautiful Bao Qingqing in the front row, couldn't help but feel a bit envious, especially since Gu Changhe kept stealing glances at her. "Gu Xiao, the second row is a bit far, we can't see clearly. I want to sit in the front row," she complained, leaning closer to Gu Changhe. He shrugged it off but couldn't resist her coaxing. "Babe, the second row is almost the same as the first." Sun Jejia persisted. "No way. What if Lu comes down to interact with the audience? We won't have a chance in the second row." Gu Changhe's eyes brightened at the thought. "You're right. If Lu interacts with fans, only the front row has a chance to touch the diva's hand. Just thinking about it is exciting. Little beauty, you make a good point. Let me think of a way to squeeze into the front row." Gu Changhe stood up, looking for suitable targets in front of him. As he scanned the area, he realized that everyone sitting in the front row was impressive, either wealthy or noble, dressed in gold and silver, wearing suits and luxury watches. They were all from top international brands. Such people couldn't be easily swayed with just a few words. Oh, only this pair of handsome guy and beautiful girl looked the most ordinary. "Hello, beautiful," Bao Qingqing called out as she looked back. "Are you calling me?" Gu Changhe felt a surge of joy. This beauty had an attractive silhouette and an even higher level of beauty, not inferior to the little star beside him. What was rare was that she exuded a charm of a mature woman, very appealing. "Excuse me, beauty, could we swap seats with you?" Gu Changhe struck what he thought was his best pose, smiling warmly. However, Bao Qingqing remained indifferent. "I can't decide that. You need to ask our young master," she said, glancing at Qin Yang beside her. Gu Changhe felt a bit frustrated. "Then may I ask this handsome guy, can we switch seats?" Qin Yang turned around, looking at him with a blank expression. "The front row and the second row are not priced the same. Why do you think I would switch with you?" Gu Changhe frowned. This guy seemed hard to deal with as well. However, for the sake of getting close to the goddess in the front row, he held back his temper. "I want to take it for free. I'll buy your seats for 100,000. Qin Yang shot him a cold glance. "Not for sale." Gu Changhe, still patient, continued to persuade. 100,000 is a good amount. Think about it. Qin Yang turned away, ignoring him. Sun Jejia shook Gu Changhe's arm. "Gu Xiao." Gu Changhe had no choice but to continue pleading. "Brother, how about you name a price?" Qin Yang felt a bit annoyed. Who would encounter such a situation just to watch a concert? Without looking back, he raised a finger and waved it dismissively. 1 million? Gu Changhe exclaimed. "Is it really necessary to ask for so much just for a seat swap?" Qin Yang raised an eyebrow. "Is that what I meant?" But to make Gu Changhe give up, he didn't bother to explain further and directly stated, 10 million. "Otherwise, don't bother me again." Gu Changhe was shocked again. 10 million? For 2 seats, you're asking me for 10 million? Bao Qingqing was also taken aback. She didn't expect the young master to be so bold. Even a lion wouldn't ask for that much. Many people around began to glance over, thinking this guy had gone crazy for money. 10 million for 2 seats? Only a fool would pay that. Sun Jejia's face showed hesitation. "Gu Xiao, why not just forget it? Spending so much for a seat swap isn't worth it." Gu Changhe stared intently at Qin Yang, his expression complex. "Fine, 10 million, I'll buy it." He took out his phone and was about to transfer money to Qin Yang on the spot. Sun Jejia quickly grabbed his arm. "Gu Xiao, are you really buying it? Forget it, I don't want the seat anymore." Bao Qingqing was stunned. Her mouth could fit a large egg. Qin Yang dared to quote a price. And Gu Changha dared to buy? What kind of mindset do these two have? 10 million. Not just 1,000. The onlookers were all confused. You can't spend money like this. It's too wasteful. A few people in the front row even thought they should have sold their seats earlier. They wouldn't need 10 million. 5 million would have been enough. It felt like sudden wealth had fallen from the sky. Qin Yang announced his bank account number, looking very relaxed. But his tone carried a hint of closeness. Bro, 10 million is too much. Just transfer 1 million. That's enough to show some goodwill. Gu Changha was taken aback. In fact, Gu Changha's action surprised Qin Yang as well. Similarly, Qin Yang's decision astonished Gu Changha. He didn't want the 10 million he had just acquired. He only wanted 1 million? This person is quite interesting. Ding dong. The transfer was successful. He quickly gave up his seat. Gu Changha and Sun Jejia moved to the front row, while Qin Yang and Bao Qingqing sat in the second row. Baby, how does it feel to sit in the front row? Gu Changha looked at Sun Jejia gently. Sun Jejia smiled sweetly. Thank you, Gu Xiao. The front row is indeed more comfortable with a better view. But it's so expensive. Gu Changha laughed. As long as you like it, that's what matters. It's just 1 million. The wealthy heir spent money like water. A mere million was indeed just pocket money. Qin Yang couldn't help but chuckle as he watched the two show their affection. What was happening to him? Selling a seat for 1 million? Did he really need that little money? Of course not. Qin Yang's assets, if not in the hundreds of billions, were at least in the tens of billions. Let alone 1 million or 10 million. Even 100 million wouldn't catch his eye. The reason he was willing to sell was that he found Gu Changha quite interesting. He looked like a top-tier rich second generation, but wasn't as arrogant as typical wealthy heirs. He was somewhat of an anomaly. Of course, in Gu Changha's eyes. Qin Yang was also quite special. It was hard to pinpoint exactly what was special, but overall, he left a deep and pleasant impression. Ding dong. Suddenly, Bao Qingqing's phone received a transfer notification. 50,000. It was transferred by Qin Yang. Bao Qingqing was startled. Young master, why did you give me 50,000? Qin Yang smiled. This seat was sold by both of us, so we have to split the earnings. Half for you, half for me. No objections, right? Bao Qingqing quickly waved her hand. No objections. Oh no. Before she could finish, Qin Yang interrupted her. As long as you have no objections, that's all that matters. Don't say anything more. The concert is starting. Bao Qingqing looked up and indeed saw a beam of light shining in the center of the stage. She immediately closed her mouth, but secretly glanced at Qin Yang, feeling warm inside. This ticket originally belonged to Qin Yang. It was he who brought her to the concert. After changing seats, he earned 1 million. But what does it have to do with her? It was merely an excuse to treat herself. She felt delighted. Not because she gained 50,000, but because a new story had formed between her and the young master. Many years later, recalling this scene would surely be sweet. The concert had been in preparation for a long time. The venue was vast, and the stage effects were spectacular. The sound, lighting, and props were all impressive, surpassing first-class concert standards. In addition to the main performer, there were other celebrated artists under the same label, including the renowned diva Su Huilian and the rising star Gao Yuyan. Even award-winning actresses like Su Yulan and Zhao Xinji made guest appearances. Naturally, some industry friends, all prominent stars, were invited to show their support. The fans at the venue were ecstatic, cheering and dancing, with a sea of glowing sticks waving in the air, moving in sync with Lu Cici's arms. It was a joyful ocean, with the swaying sticks resembling rolling waves. Lu Diva, her fans screamed, including the two devoted fans in the front row, Sun Jejia and Gu Changha, who were eagerly waiting for the interaction segment. Unfortunately, after Lu Cici sang a few songs, she searched the front row for Qin Yang but couldn't find him. Initially, she wanted to get a bit closer but changed her mind. Unbeknownst to Lu Cici, Qin Yang had moved to the second row and felt no regret, but this left Gu Changha and Sun Jejia in a panic. Why isn't Lu Diva coming over? If she doesn't, is our seat worth it? As time passed, they still didn't get the chance they hoped for. Suddenly, the music stopped, and Lu Cici's voice resonated throughout the venue. It was time for fan interaction. The big screen began to scroll through seat numbers. If selected, the lucky fan would come on stage to sing a song with her. The crowd erupted in excitement. Yes, great. Pick me, pick me. Sun Jejia jumped up, waving her glowing stick vigorously. Lu Diva, pick me. I can sing all your songs. As a third-tier singer, Sun Jejia was decent in her singing skills, but lacked opportunities to shine. If she could perform on stage with a top star, she would instantly become the center of attention, sparking discussions online and potentially climbing the trending charts. This could be her shortcut to fame. Unfortunately, the noise in the venue was too loud, and Lu Cici couldn't hear her voice at all. Everything proceeded according to plan, and the seat numbers continued to scroll on the big screen. Then it stopped. Hearing Lu Cici's voice, the scrolling paused, and a seat number appeared on the big screen. On the huge screen, a set of numbers is displayed. Row 2, seat 036. Sigh, why isn't it me? I really want to go on stage and sing with the star. Unfortunately, it's not me. A wave of sighs fills the venue. Countless people hang their heads in disappointment, lamenting their luck. Sun Jejia and Gu Changhe are even more regretful. If they were still in row 2, maybe there would be hope. Who knows? Which lucky person will get this huge opportunity? Qinyang happens to be sitting in row 2. He instinctively stands up and turns to check his seat back, which reads seat number 035. That was close. Just a little bit off. Thankfully, it's not me. His racing heart settles back down. Suddenly, he is pulled by the person next to him, Bao Qingqing, and falls into the adjacent seat. In an instant, the two perfectly switch seats. Qingqing, what are you doing? Qinyang stares at Bao Qingqing, confused. She remains silent and points at the seat number where Qinyang is now sitting, her expression very strange. Qinyang follows her finger and looks over. His pupils dilate instantly. 036. Oh no. Qingqing, are you setting me up? Bao Qingqing covers her eyes, unable to look at Qinyang. Young master, I can't sing. Please help me. Qinyang is instantly speechless. What kind of luck is this? Selling a seat has turned into such a big deal. It feels like a public execution. Had I known, I wouldn't have sold it for $1 billion. From childhood to now, aside from standing on stage to solve problems, he has never done anything under the gaze of so many people. Now, he has to stand out and go on a grand stage in front of tens of thousands of people, singing alongside a superstar. Just thinking about it makes his legs tremble. Qingqing, you are truly my good sister. Qinyang grits his teeth. Bao Qingqing, with a trembling voice, waves her hands repeatedly. Young master, I really can't do it. At this moment, a white beam of light descends from the sky, directly encircling Qinyang. All eyes in the venue focus on him, curious to see which lucky audience member has the chance to interact closely with their idol. Wow, so handsome. What a handsome guy. He's my type. This is the first time I've seen a guy look this good. Seeing this handsome guy, I instantly feel like all my ex-boyfriends are nothing. Countless female fans gasp and scream in excitement. Even many men secretly feel jealous. Is this fair? With looks like that, how am I supposed to compete? The most shocked are Sun Jejia and Gu Changhe. Row 2, seat 036. This was Sun Jejia's seat. Now, it's Qinyang sitting there. What the heck? You can't play with people like this. Gu Changhe looks as if he has seen a ghost. I'm dizzy. That was my seat. How can I be so unlucky? A great opportunity lands in my hands, and I let it slip away. Sun Jejia regretted it deeply, especially when she heard that two people behind her were switching seats. Her feelings of imbalance grew even stronger. What kind of situation is this? She longed for it. Yet Bao Qingqing seemed to avoid it at all costs, actively giving the opportunity to Qinyang. Watching the two of them push and pull, it was really infuriating. Why is that? She was so eager, yet couldn't get it. They didn't want it, but insisted on forcing it upon themselves. At that moment, the spotlight was on Qinyang for more than 3 seconds. On stage, Lu Sisi finally realized that the chosen one was actually Qinyang. She felt both surprised and worried. Excitement lit up her face, but her palms started to sweat. She was thrilled to see Qinyang at her concert, and there was a possibility they would perform together under the spotlight. However, she was also concerned because she had never seen Qinyang sing before. What if he couldn't sing? That would be embarrassing. This was a venue filled with tens of thousands of people. She couldn't bear to let Qinyang make a fool of himself like that. And Qinyang was hesitating to go on stage, which suggested he might really not know how to sing. Lu Sisi's mind raced. Should she find an excuse to select another lucky audience member? In such a highly publicized event, she needed to come up with a strategy to cover this up perfectly. If not handled well, it could lead to fan dissatisfaction and potentially turn into an embarrassing incident. Suddenly, Qinyang stood up calmly and walked towards the stage. The crowd erupted in cheers, mixed with some boos. The cheers came from the girls, while the boos were from envious men. Could this guy really sing? What if he couldn't? It would be embarrassing to show off if he couldn't sing. Someone who knew better would let the opportunity go to someone else to avoid making a fool of themselves. Sun Jejia didn't boo, but she was extremely envious and wished she could take her place. Gu Xiao, we're so unlucky. If we hadn't switched seats, it would definitely be me on stage. I would sing better than him and make a stunning impression. With Lu Sisi's popularity backing me, I could definitely rise to become a second-tier star, or even a first-tier celebrity in no time. Gu Changhe watched Qinyang's back, feeling a mix of emotions. This guy really had all the luck. I spent $1 million just to give him this opportunity? What a shame. He is not part of the entertainment industry. Going on such a big stage doesn't mean much. It's just for a laugh or to become a joke for countless people to talk about over tea. Gu Changhe found it hard to understand. Qinyang didn't seem like an impulsive person. He carried himself well and had a strong presence. His identity must be significant. Why was he able to walk to the stage so calmly? Wait a minute. Let us see how he handles this awkward moment. Bao Qingqing had narrowly escaped a predicament, and before she could feel relieved, she started to worry about Qinyang again. She had never heard the young master sing, and he probably couldn't. This time, it's for himself. He musters up the courage to go on stage. It's really tough for him. Wait a minute, the diva is asking him to sing. He can't sing. With so many people watching, how can he get off the stage? A person as outstanding as he is. Has he ever felt so embarrassed? Sigh. Just thinking about it makes one feel heartbroken. It's all his fault. If he had known it would be like this, he might as well have gone up himself. After all, I'm just an ordinary person. Losing face once isn't a big deal. How proud is the young master? How can he bear it? At this moment. Backstage, Su Yulan, Gao Yiyin, Zhao Xianji, Su Huilian, and others are all nervously watching Qin Yang, worried about how he will handle it if he doesn't sing well. Gao Yiyin and Su Huilian exchange glances and simultaneously make up their minds. If Qin Yang can't handle it, the two of them will immediately go on stage and start singing to help Qin Yang manage the situation and resolve the crisis. Finally, Qin Yang's tall figure appears in the center of the stage. Lu Cece takes a deep breath, adjusts her emotions, and with a smile, welcomes Qin Yang. She thanks him for coming on stage to perform with her. Please introduce yourself. Under the spotlight, Qin Yang remains calm and composed as he takes the microphone. My name is Qin Yang, and I'm a loyal fan of the diva. I'm very happy to be chosen to perform on stage with her. Please take care of me. Lu Cece's heart leaps with joy but also worries secretly. She casts a questioning look, as if asking, can you sing? Qin Yang inadvertently makes a gesture to reassure her. Lu Cece feels a bit more at ease. Next, we will collaborate to complete a song of mine. I wonder which song Mr. Qin would like to choose. During this time, while driving or taking a shower, Qin Yang has listened to all of Lu Cece's songs. Some of them he particularly likes and has played on repeat countless times. He is incredibly familiar with them. Qin Yang smiles and says, I like all of the diva's songs. At this moment, if I have to choose a duet, I pick a Lifetime. Lu Cece is quite surprised. A Lifetime? This song has a very high level of difficulty, including high notes, vibrato, harmonies, and various singing techniques. It's very demanding for singers. Many well-known singers have wanted to cover this song, but most have given up. The few who succeeded still couldn't compare to Lu Cece's original rendition. However, if they manage to sing it well, the benefits are obvious. This song is the theme of a popular TV drama and has long topped the music charts. It has a huge influence, and almost everyone who loves music likes it. Moreover, it's a classic love song that expresses a deep, unwavering love. Qin Yang specifically chose this song to duet with Lu Cece. Is he trying to express something through this song? The audience below began to discuss animatedly. Can he really sing a Lifetime? It's such a difficult song. I can't even sing it. How could he? Well, if he dares to go on stage. He must have some skills. You never know. No way. Even many big stars can't cover it. What does he count for? Exactly. If he sings well. I'll call him Grandpa. Uft. What kind of bet is that? If he can do it, I'd be willing to spend a night with him. Such a charming man. I wouldn't lose out. I have to say, the fans were passionate. As long as they liked someone, they dared to do anything. Qin Yang hadn't even sung yet, but he had already captivated countless people with his looks. Lu Cece confirmed several times before signaling backstage to start singing a Lifetime. The intro music began to play, and the stage lights changed. Lu Cece brought the microphone to her lips, ready to start singing. The first few lines were all sung by the female voice. Starting from the 8th line, it would be the male voice. Qin Yang appeared calm. But inside he began to summon the system to upgrade his singing skills. His divine vocal cords were directly upgraded to master level. Beep. Singing skill is starting to upgrade. Consumed 60 points. Divine vocal cords upgraded to level 4, in perfect condition. Master level realm. Current points remaining, 200 points. A refreshing coolness spread through his throat. Every part of his body related to singing underwent transformation. A wealth of knowledge and techniques associated with singing flooded his mind. He possessed the talent of a genius singer and the vocal techniques and stage experience of a top star. All of this was accomplished silently and swiftly. There was still plenty of time. He checked his personal information panel. Host name, Qin Yang. Host age, 22 years. Theoretical lifespan, 120 years. System level. Level 2, 3 pieces of information triggered yesterday. 1 piece today. Life skills, soul-stirring hands. Level 4 perfect. Divine driving. Level 3 proficient. Beast language. Level 4 perfect. Multilingual. Level 4 perfect. Sharpshooter. Level 4 perfect. Artistic talent. Level 2 minor achievement. 5 elements resurrection needle. Level 4 perfect. Divine vocal cords. Level 4 perfect. Special skills. Personal space. Level 3 10 cubic meters. Golden eyes. Level 1 scanning range. 1 meter. Telepathy. Level 4 communication range. 30 meters. Combat skills. Combat techniques. Level 4 perfect. Invisible hands. Level 4 perfect. Shadowless and formless. Heart crushing. Level 4 perfect. A palm to crush the heart. Star snatching and moon taking. Level 1 beginner. Capturing dragons and tigers. Sky treading step. Level 2 minor achievement. Flying over grass. Cultivation secret method. None. Combat power level. Intermediate warrior. Endurance potion. Strength evaluation reached advanced bright martial artist with star snatching and sky treading step. Other information remained unchanged. Only the divine vocal cords had reached level 4 in perfect condition. This was a master-level singing skill, enough to surpass the vast majority of singers. Even Lu Cece, the superstar, would have to bow down. Qinyang was very satisfied. The corner of his mouth inadvertently revealed a hint of a smile. The audience below had been closely watching Qinyang's performance. This guy is truly a lucky one. Among tens of thousands of people at the scene, only this kid had the opportunity to take the stage and interact closely with the diva. What incredible luck. Huh, this kid actually showed a lewd smile in front of the diva? Is he getting carried away? Although I also want a chance to get close. I wouldn't dare to show my true self under such scrutiny. You, kid, are truly beneath contempt. Boldly thinking about being with the goddess? The audience immediately erupted in commotion. Insults and ridicule surged like a tide. Get off the stage. What is this? Still wanting to duet with the diva? Can you even sing? Don't ruin my ears. Pretty boy, just looking at you is annoying. Who knows how many good women you've harmed? It's so unfair. Good looks and good luck. Why does he get to take all the good fortune? Fortunately, prejudice and jealousy were just a small part. Once Lu Cece started singing, the noise was immediately suppressed. A few oblivious ones were still mumbling, but they were ruthlessly silenced by the loyal fans nearby. What is this? Daring to disrupt my enjoyment of the diva's singing? Keep talking, and I'll take you down. The diva's voice was as enchanting as ever, especially when performing the song A Lifetime together. The heartfelt lyrics and poignant melody, combined with the diva's voice, created a deeply moving effect. The crowd listened, entranced. As the female vocal part ended, it was Qinyang's turn to sing. Everyone held their breath, waiting for his performance. Most people felt a sense of dread, worried that this unknown kid would ruin the beautiful music experience with a voice like a broken gong and off-key rhythm. Lu Cece instinctively clenched her fist, feeling extremely nervous. Bao Qingqing stared at the stage, watching Qinyang, silently praying. Just don't embarrass yourself too much. Her request was simple. As long as he could hum the lyrics completely without any awkward pauses or noise, that would be enough for her. Su Huilian and Gao Yuxiu tightened their hands. If Qinyang couldn't keep up or sang poorly, they would immediately rush out and turn the duet into a 4-person chorus, using their voices to cover up Qinyang's flaws. Under the gaze of thousands, Qinyang raised the microphone and began to sing. Chapter 223, A Talent Explosion. Please, Professor, appreciate a lifetime together, through life and death, through hardships and struggles, with you by my side, joy and laughter, shared with you. As soon as Qinyang opened his mouth, the audience erupted. It started with confusion, then disbelief, and finally shock and joy. Who would have thought that an unknown person would have such a perfect voice? Loud, rich, and textured, filled with deep emotions. Every lyric, every note, was meticulously crafted. Irreplaceable. What kind of voice is this? It's so stunning. Wow. This song is absolutely the best hit of the night. The most perfect performance. Who is this person? If you say he isn't a big star, I won't believe it no matter what. A true legend. This is definitely the power of a superstar. I've never heard such a touching love song. It suddenly makes me want to cry. Wow. I think of my first love, when we loved so purely. I think of my ex-wife, when we promised each other to be together for a lifetime. The audience is silent. Everyone's heart is in turmoil. So many emotions. Memories flood back, those unforgettable past experiences. There was infatuation, there was heartbreak. There was joy, there was disappointment. There was laughter, there were tears. Bao Qingqing stared blankly at the stage. Is this really my young master? How is he so amazing? Su Yulan, Zhao Xinji, Su Huilian, Gao Yuxiu, and others. A heavy heart finally feels at ease. I thought this would be a performance mishap. Unexpectedly, it turned into the biggest surprise. I believe all the fans feel that tonight's ticket is worth every penny. The debut concert of Ryu Xing has achieved instant fame and great success. If nothing unexpected happens, tomorrow's headlines on major websites and the top of the trending topics will be about this concert. Standing in the center of the stage, Lu Cece, who is so close to Qinyang, feels the impact the most. Qinyang's performance is completely unlike that of a newcomer. His psychological quality, singing technique, stage experience, and ability to control the crowd are all perfect. Especially his voice, which reaches deep into the soul and carries strong emotions that impact everyone's heart. This is a master-level performer, a true, soulful singer. If he releases an album, it will definitely sell worldwide. If he holds a personal concert, it will surely attract crowds. With tickets being hard to come by, in a word, other singers may find it hard to compete. Because once you've heard his songs, listening to others will always feel lacking. Something seems off, maybe the flavor is wrong, or the intensity isn't enough. After finishing a song, it feels fleeting, almost like a dream from 1,000 years ago. The audience is still immersed in the lingering echoes of the song, unable to extricate themselves. After a long while, Bao Qingqing is the first to applaud. Then, a thunderous applause erupts throughout the venue, growing stronger and more rhythmic. Clap, 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 clap. This time, the impact of the encore is tremendous. Although fans strongly request Chen Yang to sing another song, he firmly declines. Lu Cixi knows Chen Yang's concerns. He isn't a star, and doesn't he want to be famous? He also worries about potential chaos at the scene. Crazy fans can do anything. She quickly arranges for security to escort Chen Yang out. Together with Bao Qingqing, they return to the lakeside villa. Chen Yang still feels a sense of dread inside. The crowd scene just now was truly frightening. Every fan wanted to squeeze to the front to ask Chen Yang for another song. It wasn't easy for stars like CC and Yulan. Young master, your singing is incredible. It's hard not to become famous. Bao Qingqing's eyes sparkled as she looked at Chen Yang with admiration. Chen Yang looked gloomy. Famous? Why didn't you go up just now? Bao Qingqing shrank her neck. If I went up, I might also become famous. But not as an idol, more like the object of ridicule. I wouldn't want that embarrassment. Chen Yang shot her a glare. Just as he was about to speak, his phone rang. It was Feng Danqing calling. After she got Chen Yang's painting titled Morning Sun, she immediately contacted her teacher. A renowned painter and authority in fine arts at a certain university, Professor Song Machuan. Professor Song was busy today and could only meet in the evening. Feng Danqing offered to treat him to dinner and also to appreciate the painting to see what level it was at. After dinner, when Professor Song saw the painting Morning Sun, he initially didn't pay much attention and nodded slightly. Danqing, did you paint this? Not bad, quite interesting. Feng Danqing smiled and shook her head. Teacher, this is not my painting, it's a friend's work. I was curious and wanted to show it to you for your appraisal. Professor Song nodded slightly. Not bad. Jiangqing's prodigal? I haven't heard that name before. Danqing, your friend is very talented. They've probably been studying painting for over 10 years, right? I wonder which master they learned from. Feng Danqing shook her head. My friend has had no guidance from any famous teachers. They are self-taught. Moreover, this is their first time painting. Professor Song was astonished. Adjusting his glasses, he turned to look at Feng Danqing. Impossible. Such skill and brushwork. There's no way they could have achieved this without 10 years of hard work. You must know, this painting has already reached the first level of ink rhythm in traditional Chinese painting. The painting skills are quite accomplished. Many professional art teachers might not even reach this level. Feng Danqing fully believed her teacher's assessment. However, she also understood Chen Yang's situation very well. Teacher, I'm not lying to you. My friend has never learned painting before and has never painted a single piece. This painting was created this morning, right in front of me. It was done spontaneously. Professor Song's interest was piqued. Is that so? Please tell me in detail what happened at that time. Feng Danqing said, at that time, I went to visit my friend. I saw that their place was beautiful, with a small garden on the rooftop of the building and a great view. It was early morning, and I felt inspired to paint the beautiful scenery of the garden. My friend was curious and stood by watching. Suddenly, they also became interested and asked for a brush to paint the morning sun on paper. That is how this painting Morning Sun came to be. Professor Song listened, dumbfounded. A miracle. Could he be a genius painter? He turned his gaze to the painting and began to appreciate it carefully. Suddenly, he slapped his thigh. Amazing. It truly is a first-time artwork. How did I not notice it before? Chapter 224. This painting is extraordinary and will surely be recorded in history. Feng Danqing was puzzled. Teacher, is there something wrong? Song Machuan shook his head vigorously, excited like a mad old man. No problem, but there is a method. A significant method. Feng Danqing leaned in curiously to observe the painting again, seemingly trying to discern some insight. However, with limited vision, she gained nothing. Song Machuan pointed to a corner of the painting. Danqing, look, this painting should have started from here. The initial strokes are very awkward, the brushwork trembles. The lines are rough, and the ink application is uneven. Then here, the strokes became steady, the lines precise, and the ink application even. And then to this part. The framework is reasonable, the structure stable, and the proportions appropriate. Now look at this spot. His brushwork is already quite skilled. Every stroke is full of depth and intention. It's incredible. This painting remarkably showcases a person's journey in learning to paint, from clumsiness to proficiency, from not knowing to mastery, completely presented. This is simply unscientific. At first, Feng Danqing looked confused. But as the professor pointed things out, her eyes gradually lit up, beginning to see some insights. Teacher, is this painting really so magical? Song Machuan paced back and forth with his hands behind his back. Yes, it's almost unbelievable. A single painting clearly shows 10 years of hard work, stroke by stroke. Theoretically, this is impossible. It can be called a miracle. Danqing, do you know? Although the technical level of this painting is not high, its value far exceeds that. This is a classic template for art teaching. I am certain that major art schools in the future will include this painting in their textbooks as a tool for teachers to explain painting techniques and as a model for all students to copy and learn from. Feng Danqing was astonished, her jaw nearly dropping. Is the teacher being so exaggerated? Song Moshwan stopped and looked at her seriously. Danqing, I'm not exaggerating at all. This painting is invaluable and will undoubtedly be recorded in the annals of art history. At this point, he suddenly became anxious. No. I must meet this genius and ask him to paint another piece. Danqing, can you take me to see him? I want to observe in person. Feng Danqing was at a loss. Teacher, why are you in such a hurry? It's getting late today. Song Moshwan stood up and walked away. Don't say anything. Just lead the way. Right now, immediately. I don't want to wait another moment. With no other choice, Feng Danqing had to take Song Moshwan toward the lakeside villa. Before starting the vehicle, she wanted to call Qinyang to have him greet the teacher, but was stopped by Song Moshwan. Don't notify him. We'll make a surprise visit. Feng Danqing was confused. Surprise visit? What does that mean? Lakeside villa. Qinyang had just finished dinner and was preparing to take a walk. Feng Danqing came in with an elegant old man, bustling with energy. Just as Qinyang was about to greet them, Danqing noticed the old man walking straight into the hall, looking around. He found nothing and turned to Qinyang. Young friend, may I visit your study? Qinyang was puzzled. Feng Danqing quickly explained. Qinyang, this is my painting teacher, Professor Song Moshwan. I invited him to appreciate your painting morning Sunday. He liked it very much and insisted on coming to meet you. Qinyang understood and hurriedly greeted Professor Song. Hello, Professor. It's a pleasure to meet you. Allow me to show you the way. Guided by Qinyang, the three entered a spacious room. A simple desk stood prominently, with basic supplies on it. The walls were lined with bookshelves. There weren't many books, but they were all exquisite. In the study, there was a high-end coffee table and several sofas, along with a large balcony. In one corner of the balcony, there was a recliner. Professor Song scanned the room carefully, his expression revealing doubt. The study was quite simple, with no artworks or traditional writing and painting tools in sight. He looked at Qinyang and said, Young friend, I hear morning sun is your work. Are you the rogue of Jiangqing? Qinyang rubbed his temples, feeling a bit embarrassed. Professor, that was just a casual doodle, not worthy of high praise. Professor Song did not elaborate, but instead requested with a hopeful tone, I would like to observe your process. Could you please create another piece? Qinyang quickly waved his hands. I am just a novice. How could I dare to show off in front of you? Besides, painting, like poetry, requires inspiration. Forcing it out will only make it laughable. Professor Song grew anxious. Young friend, please do not be modest. Your painting, though simple, has great potential. As long as you persevere, your future is limitless. Seeing Qinyang still shaking his head, the old man became quite flustered. Feng Danqing quickly intervened. Qinyang, my teacher means no harm. He just wants to see how you paint in person. The quality doesn't matter. Just relax and create something. Qinyang looked at the two. Really, is it okay if I just draw casually? Professor Song nodded repeatedly, fearing that this young man might refuse to paint altogether. I'm really worried. After thinking for a moment, Qinyang finally relented. He waved for Bao Qingqing to come over. Sister Qingqing, can you run out and buy a set of traditional painting supplies? Ideally, some hui brushes, hui ink, xian paper, and a duan inkstone. Also, get some pigments and brushes used for Chinese painting. Stop. Before Qinyang could finish, Feng Danqing couldn't help but interrupt. No need to go through all that trouble. I brought a set of supplies with me. They're in the car. Just bring them up directly. It was clear she had anticipated that Qinyang's home would not have these items, which further confirmed her expectations. Qinyang is really not a calligraphy and painting enthusiast. Song Moshwan became even more curious about him and immediately urged Feng Danqing to go get the materials. Qinyang quickly instructed Bao Qingqing, Sister Qingqing, go with Danqing to fetch them. Once you have everything ready in the study, prepare the brushes and ink. I'll go to the rooftop observatory and meditate for a while to adjust my state and cultivate my emotions. Please wait a moment. With that, Qinyang went upstairs. Sitting alone at the observatory on the top floor, gazing at the starry sky and looking down at the earth. However, after everything was prepared in the study, Qinyang still did not come down. Song Moshwan felt restless, wanting to go up and urge him multiple times, but was stopped by Feng Danqing. Master, please don't rush. Inspiration isn't easy to find. Besides, this is his second time painting, and he has no experience. If he doesn't prepare properly, his mind will surely be blank. Song Moshwan barely sat still. Within 3 minutes, he started fidgeting again. Fortunately, Qinyang finally came down, sitting at the desk, picking up the brush and preparing to start. Suddenly, he furrowed his brows, pausing his actions for a long time, feeling as if the image in his mind couldn't be perfectly represented with ink and brush. There was a sense of helplessness. What's wrong? Feng Danqing noticed his struggle. Bao Qingqing, standing by, also looked worried. When has the young master ever painted? He won't embarrass himself in front of Miss Feng and Professor Song, will he? Song Moshwan had a strange expression. Could it be that the previous painting was merely a coincidence? A miracle? In fact, Qinyang really didn't know how to paint, since his skills were insufficient. he decided to rely on the system for help. Qin Yang immediately called upon the system in his mind to upgrade his painting skills, leveling up to the master realm. Ding! Painting skills are starting to upgrade. Consuming 20 points, the skill Danqing Miao Bai has been upgraded to level 3, master state. Remaining points, 180. A profound feeling surged into him, granting him new insights into the path of calligraphy and painting. Even his hand holding the brush felt much more natural. The previously obscure parts became clear, and the images in his mind could now be perfectly rendered with the brush. This feeling of upgrading was identical to his own epiphany, deeply engraved in his bones and soul. Understanding became clear, and application flowed smoothly. He checked his personal information panel. Host name, Qin Yang. Host age, 22 years old. Theoretical lifespan, 120 years. System level. Level 2, 3 pieces of intelligence triggered yesterday. 1 piece triggered today. Life skills, soulful hands, level 4 perfect. Master driving, level 3 proficient. Beast language, level 4 perfect. Multilingualism, level 4 perfect. Sharpshooter, level 4 perfect. Artistic brush, level 3 proficient. 5 elements resurrection needle, level 4 perfect. Divine singing voice, level 4 perfect. Special skills, personal space, level 3. 10 cubic meters, golden eyes, level 1, scanning range, 1 meter. Whispering, level 4, communication range, 30 meters. Combat skills, combat techniques, level 4 perfect. Empty-handed techniques, level 4 perfect. Invisible and formless, heartbreaking strike, level 4 perfect. A palm to the heart, star snatching and moon grabbing, level 1 beginner. Capturing dragons and binding tigers, heavenly step, level 2 minor achievement. Flying over grass, cultivation secret arts, none. Combat power level, intermediate warrior, stamina potion, strength evaluation, with the star snatching hand and heavenly step. He has reached the level of a senior bright warrior. Very good. The artistic brush has progressed from a minor achievement to a major achievement. Both calligraphy and painting are mastered, a level that many professional artists may not reach in their lifetime. Very few masters excel in just one area, such as cursive script, regular script, meticulous painting, landscape painting, or figure painting. It is challenging to achieve mastery in all areas. However, Qin Yang can accomplish this, mastering each one. Amidst the concerns of the crowd, Qin Yang finally moved. At this moment, he was not like the last time, tentatively putting pen to paper, but rather wielding the brush with fluidity, as if flowing like clouds and water. His hand movements resembled a precision instrument, fast and accurate, with exquisite detail that captured the essence. In just 3 minutes, a magnificent painting was completed in one stroke, titled Mountains and Rivers. Feng Danqing was left speechless. When did Qin Yang's painting skills become so extraordinary? Song Mashuan was also taken aback. Qin Yang's speed in painting is among the top in the artistic community. But the quality, who knows? Feng Danqing curiously stepped forward for a closer look, unable to suppress his surprise. My goodness, Qin Yang's painting skills have improved again? The scenes depicted were grand and majestic, with countless mountains and rivers of the realm seemingly captured in one painting. The artistic conception was clearly superior to Morning Sunday Wonderful. Indeed wonderful. Song Mashuan was excited, his hands trembling as he grabbed Qin Yang's shoulder. Young man, tell me, have you been deliberately studying and improving your painting skills lately? Qin Yang shook his head. Professor, I'm sorry. I've been quite busy recently, and haven't had time to study painting techniques. This is my second painting. Song Mashuan was even more excited, grabbing Qin Yang and speaking animatedly. A genius. In such a short time, his painting skills have improved to a higher level. This is incredible. Feng Danqing was also very surprised. Teacher, can we really elevate to a higher realm? Song Mashuan nodded. Of course. The first painting, Morning Sun, has progressed from clumsiness to proficiency, ultimately reaching the realm of ink charm. This piece, Mountains and Rivers, is majestic and full of spirit, definitely achieving the second level of artistic charm. Appreciating this painting can inspire a sense of grandeur, clearing away any feelings of depression. This level of mastery has surpassed many renowned contemporary artists. It is truly a rare masterpiece. I suggest we send this painting to an exhibition so that more art enthusiasts can appreciate such skillful work, cultivating their emotions and refining their technique. Feng Danqing was overjoyed. Teacher, can we really participate in the exhibition? Song Mashuan nodded affirmatively. Of course, there's more than enough opportunity. Would you like me to help you get in touch? Feng Danqing glanced at Qin Yang. Teacher, thank you, but there's no need. I have many artist friends, and coincidentally, a friend of mine is holding an exhibition in Jiangxing soon. I'll contact her later. Song Mashuan pondered for a moment. Is she the one known as the Bamboo Scholar? Feng Danqing nodded. Exactly. Song Mashuan smiled. That girl is quite talented, especially in figure painting. She has a remarkable spirit. Not bad. Seeing the two of them quickly make such a significant decision, Qin Yang felt anxious. Danqing, do you think my painting is good enough? Feng Danqing nodded vigorously. Of course. If my teacher says it's good, then it surely is. He is a board member of the National Calligraphy and Painting Association, vice president of the Jiangnan Province Calligraphy and Painting Association, and president of the Jiangxing Calligraphy and Painting Association. So what do you think? Qin Yang was taken aback. He hadn't expected Professor Song to hold such a high status in the field of calligraphy and painting. Feng Danqing immediately made an appointment with her friend. Tomorrow morning, I'll take Qin Yang and the painting to visit her. Whether we can participate in the exhibition still needs to be determined by the bamboo scholar herself. The night passed without incident. The next morning, while having breakfast, Qin Yang checked the daily updates. Beep. Today's updates refreshed. Update 1. Jean who is not willing to give up and will come again. Update 2. Your personal account on Douyin has seen a surge in fan engagement today. Update 3. The publicity of the genius painter has displeased some people. There might be some complications at the exhibition. Opening the details of the updates, for the first one, Qin Yang understood that Jean who had traveled from Liaodong to Jiangcheng and Wuden easily backed down. If he wasn't here now, it was only because he hadn't thought of a way. Once he figured out how to deal with Qin Yang, he would definitely come back. Of course, Qin Yang hadn't given up either. Having Zhuo Xiaojing keep an eye out for an opportunity to steal half a map was also a strategy. In any case, neither of them would back down, and there would definitely be a conclusion soon, depending on whose methods were more skillful. For the second update, Qin Yang was a bit surprised. He had sung a duet with Lu Cixi at the concert yesterday, but he hadn't uploaded anything to Douyin himself. It was only the official account of Ryu Xing and the personal accounts of Lu Cixi, Su Yulan, and others. A short video of a duet was released. Amidst the enthusiastic cheers of the audience, the likes surged, gaining traction. This video was shared countless times, and the comments were lively. Along with that, Qin Yang's profile was also uncovered. Despite having posted only a few videos, he unexpectedly gained 10,000 followers overnight. Qin Yang was unsure whether this was a good or bad thing. Bai Qingqing was incredibly envious. She had been posting for over a year, with dozens of videos, and had only accumulated 5,000 followers. In just a few hours, she was surpassed by Qin Yang. The third piece of information was about today's art exhibition. It seemed that his performance had overshadowed some individuals, provoking jealousy and challenges. It was a trivial matter, not worth worrying about. Putting down his utensils, Qin Yang took his artwork and drove to pick up Feng Danqing. Qin Yang, when you meet my friend, be mentally prepared, Feng Danqing warned him in advance. My friend is talented and beautiful, but somewhat aloof, especially towards young men. If there's any offense, I hope you can understand. Chapter 226. Is this painting really yours? Qin Yang was slightly surprised. What did Feng Danqing mean? Was her friend difficult to get along with? It's fine. Don't worry, I won't put you in a tough spot. Qin Yang replied. Hearing this, Feng Danqing felt somewhat relieved. The two entered a large art exhibition hall. In one of the larger galleries, many portraits were displayed. Feng Danqing quietly introduced, my friend excels in portrait painting and bamboo painting. Her pen name is Qingzhu Jusher, and her real name is Luo Yuzhu. Qin Yang nodded secretly. In the gallery, aside from portraits, there were also various bamboo paintings, all very lifelike. It seemed that Feng Danqing's friend had deep skills in these two areas. No wonder she could hold an exhibition. Her reputation was so great that even Professor Song praised her, given her temperament and skills. It was uncertain whether she would appreciate Qin Yang's artwork. Following Feng Danqing, they entered a large office. A beautiful woman in a gauzy dress was sitting in front of an easel, focused on painting. She turned her head and greeted them with a warm smile. Danqing, you're here. Just a moment, I'll be done soon. The two seemed very familiar. Feng Danqing didn't hold back and walked directly behind her to admire her painting. Unable to suppress her admiration. I really envy you. If I could also put aside mundane affairs and focus solely on painting, that would be wonderful. Luo Yuzhu laughed and replied, you don't know how fortunate you are. If I had to manage a big company like you, I could occasionally take breaks, paint when I wanted, and enjoy life when I didn't feel like painting. After all, I have endless money. Feng Danqing teased her. Are you pretending to be poor? Do you have little savings? Is it 8 figures or 9 figures? Luo Yuzhu chuckled and didn't reply. She was a standout among the younger generation and had significant fame in the calligraphy and painting world. She definitely earned a lot each year. A single painting could easily fetch hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Would someone like this be short on money? After a moment, Luo Yuzhu finished her painting, put down her brush, and washed her hands. She turned to look at Qin Yang. Who is this? Feng Danqing quickly introduced. This is the friend I mentioned to you over the phone, Qin Yang. That painting is his masterpiece. Qin Yang looked at Luo Yuzhu. She was an accomplished artist and a beautiful woman. At this moment, if she extended her hand, he would go over to shake hands. If she didn't take the initiative, he felt it was better to be a bit reserved. Sure enough, Luo Yuzhu just nodded slightly, not even offering a smile. She said lightly, good. Did you bring that painting? Feng Danqing seemed to have anticipated this, shaking his head with a wry smile. Yang then took the painting out and placed it on the desk. Luo Yuzhu stood gracefully in front of the desk, quietly admiring it. Not bad. The landscape is magnificent. It really is a rare masterpiece. After a moment, Luo Yuzhu nodded in praise, though there was no look of surprise on her face. Suddenly, she turned to Yang. Mr. Chun, is this painting really yours? Yang was slightly taken aback. Before he could respond, Feng Danqing interjected, Yuzhu. Of course it's painted by Yang. I saw it with my own eyes. You definitely don't need to doubt this. Luo Yuzhu's expression was strange. It was hard to tell whether she believed it or not. This painting, landscape, has a strong brushwork and careful application of ink. It is grand yet delicate. To be honest, it's at a level higher than most of my works. So, it's hard for me to believe that this is the result of your second time painting, Mr. Chun. She looked at Yang again, staring directly into his eyes. Can you tell me, is this really your second time painting? Yang felt calm and showed no sign of hesitation. Of course, it is indeed my second time. I don't think there is any need to lie. However, Luo Yuzhu gently shook her head, a hint of disappointment and disdain flashing in her eyes. I've given you chances time and again. Since you don't cherish them, there is nothing more to say. In her view, this whole situation was a trap set by Yang. It was obvious that he was interested in Feng Danqing, whether for financial gain or romantic interest. To pursue Feng Danqing, he had carefully figured out her preferences and deliberately packaged himself as a painting genius, letting her see how extraordinarily talented he was. Adoring a man is often the beginning of a woman's downfall. Clearly, Yang had succeeded. However, Luo Yuzhu was not interested in exposing him. After all, this was between the two of them. Perhaps Feng Danqing was just pretending to be confused. After all, Yang was indeed quite good-looking. Not many women could remain immune to his charm. Of course, she considered herself an exception. Luo Yuzhu was very clear about this and felt quite pleased with herself. Even if Feng Danqing wanted to explain a few things for Yang, she wouldn't give her the opportunity. All right, Danqing, you don't need to say more. I agree to the exhibition. This painting is worth it. Feng Danqing opened his mouth. She still didn't say it out loud. Having one less person to appreciate Yang might not be a bad thing, especially since this person is a beautiful woman who is so obsessed with painting. It's hard to imagine what would happen if she discovered Yang's true abilities. Would she compete with him? Next, Luo Yuzhu arranged for the staff to find a prominent spot to showcase mountains and rivers for countless people to view and appreciate. She and Feng Danqing chatted enthusiastically, completely ignoring Yang as if he were air. Feeling quite bored, Yang could only hold a cup of tea and retreat to the balcony to enjoy some solitude. They were all waiting for the exhibition's reception. After all, only works that the majority liked had market value. Every half hour, Luo Yuzhu would ask about the feedback on mountains and rivers. The first 2 times, the responses were decent, generally positive, but nothing astonishing. Suddenly, a staff member rushed into the office. Miss Luo, there's trouble. It's getting loud in the exhibition hall. Luo Yuzhu was startled. What happened? Be clear. The staff member explained immediately. Someone is accusing mountains and rivers of exaggeration and is causing a scene with our people. Luo Yuzhu exchanged a glance with Feng Danqing and headed towards the hall, with Yang quickly following. In the hall, there was a dense crowd, tightly packed. The three squeezed into the throng. Luo Yuzhu's expression darkened. Shaolin, you are a well-known painter. How could you come to my exhibition to cause trouble? It turned out to be a familiar face. Shaolin and Luo Yuzhu were both rising stars in the art world. Shaolin had admired Luo Yuzhu for years, pursuing her but repeatedly being rejected. This guy was quite persistent, never giving up. How could he miss the chance to support the goddess at her exhibition? However, upon seeing mountains and rivers, he immediately recognized it wasn't Luo Yuzhu's work. He heard from the guide that it was a handsome guy who asked Luo Yuzhu for help to display it here. Shaolin's jealousy flared up. He also heard that this was Yang's second painting. He felt he had found a weakness because it was impossible for someone to reach this level with just a second painting. It was all nonsense. Bragging. Let's see how I expose you. How dare you have designs on Miss Luo? You're truly overestimating yourself. Chapter 227. On-site test. Difficult as climbing to the sky, it must be said that Shaolin and Luo Yuzhu's thoughts were remarkably aligned. Perhaps Luo Yuzhu had such thoughts because she saw a reflection of herself in Shaolin. Anyway, Shaolin was convinced that Yang was using the exhibition as a pretext to flirt and aimed to steal Luo Yuzhu away. No matter what, this matter had to be stirred up. Exposing Yang's lies was the best breakthrough. Hello, Miss Luo. I'm not here to cause trouble, but to help you maintain your reputation. I believe you can see that this painting is of good quality. It's absolutely impossible to reach this level with just a second attempt. I even doubt whether this painting was really created by him. Shaolin leaned closer to Luo Yuzhu, but she subtly avoided him. Shaolin had thick skin and forced a smile, pretending nothing had happened. I'm here to expose this hypocritical guy, so he won't tarnish your name at the exhibition. Luo Yuzhu remained silent, but Feng Danqing was trembling with anger. Xiao, don't speak without thinking. Who is being fraudulent? Who is being hypocritical? I witnessed the entire process of this painting's creation, and it's absolutely true. On what basis do you say it's not his work? Xiaolin laughed coldly. If it is his painting, then why is he too afraid to speak up? Is it because he feels guilty? Luo Yuzhu and Feng Danqing both turned to look at Qinyang. At this moment, Qinyang couldn't avoid the spotlight if he wanted to. He took a few slow steps forward, glanced at Xiaolin, and spoke in a very calm tone. Who do you think you are? Why should I prove anything to you? Xiaolin laughed heartily. Who am I? Ask Miss Luo, ask the friends here, who I am. Do I have the qualifications? I want to ask, who do you think you are? There were many onlookers, some from calligraphy and painting associations, and some seasoned enthusiasts. They were quite familiar with Xiaolin, this rising star. Young man, don't be too arrogant. This Mr. Xiao is a new talent in calligraphy and painting, and his work has already been recognized by contemporary masters. He is almost as well known as the esteemed scholar Qingzhu. You, a nameless person, dare to act pretentious in front of Mr. Xiao? Xiaolin's few words drew a lot of support. Countless people criticized Qinyang. Qinyang himself didn't care, but Feng Danqing couldn't accept it. Stop, she shouted, silencing the crowd. She turned to glare at Xiaolin. Xiao, I know you have some fame, but is it a bit despicable to use everyone's trust to slander and exclude Qinyang? Aren't you just questioning whether this painting is Qinyang's work? What would it take for you to believe? Xiaolin's expression darkened, but he secretly felt pleased. Finally, he had taken the bait. It's not that I don't believe it. It's just too unreasonable to accept. If Brother Qin can paint on the spot and demonstrate his skills, then I will believe it. He looked at Qinyang politely, with a smile on his face. My request is not high. As long as the painting created on site can reach 80% of the essence of mountains and rivers, I will believe that mountains and rivers is indeed his work. What do you say? Are you daring enough to accept the challenge? Feng Danqing's expression changed, her face filled with worry. Painting on the spot was not difficult, but achieving 80% of the essence of mountains and rivers was another story. She is not a professional painter, but she understands well that painting is similar to poetry. Inspiration must be present in the heart for it to flow effortlessly. If there is no inspiration, even if one paints 10 or 100 pieces, they will still be mere imitations, lacking in uniqueness and unable to become masterpieces. Xiaolin felt a sense of satisfaction within. You want to compete with me? You're still too inexperienced. Mountains and rivers can certainly be considered a masterpiece. Even achieving 80% of its quality would be a rare accomplishment. But how can a famous painting be created so casually, without inspiration and opportunity? How can one expect to create something casually? It's simply wishful thinking. Art comes naturally, and is often discovered by chance. The same goes for paintings. Even if this mountains and rivers was indeed painted by Qinyang, it must have gone through countless drafts and revisions before becoming a timeless work. If he were to paint it again now, he would definitely not be able to replicate it. As a painter, Xiaolin deeply understands this. After so many years of creation, he has only produced a few noteworthy works, which are his renowned pieces. The rest are just mediocre. Faced with Xiaolin's aggressive stance, Feng Danqing looked at Luo Yuzhu, seemingly hoping she would speak up in fairness. Unfortunately, Luo Yuzhu herself held some biases against Qinyang. She was reluctant to expose her thoughts and felt it was too much trouble. Now that someone was helping, she did not refuse. It was a good thing for her friend Feng Danqing to see Qinyang's true colors. With no other option, Feng Danqing turned to Qinyang and quietly asked, "Do you have confidence?" Qinyang was surprised. "You want me to paint on site?" Feng Danqing nodded. "We have no choice. If we don't accept the challenge, Xiaolin will definitely spread rumors that you are fraudulent. Many peers present will also be dissatisfied. If that happens, your reputation in the art world will be tarnished. Those who engage in traditional art value reputation and integrity highly. Once you gain such a negative reputation, it will be difficult to move forward in the community." Qinyang shook his head slightly. "I don't want to be involved in the art world, so why should I care about their opinions?" Feng Danqing was taken aback and urged, "You may not care, but I do. I was the one who encouraged you to participate in the exhibition. And now we've gained nothing but trouble. I can't swallow this frustration. I also don't want your reputation to be ruined by someone like him." With no choice, Qinyang agreed. "Fine, I'll paint on site to help you vent this frustration." Feng Danqing smiled brightly, but then worriedly asked, "But to paint on site and achieve 80% of the essence, can you do it?" Qinyang deliberately put on a serious face. "Can I do it?" Feng Danqing's face flushed, and she stopped talking. She immediately started preparing the easel and tools for Qinyang. Without hesitation, Qinyang sat down in front of the easel, picked up the brush, and thought about what to paint. Since Luo Yuzhu excelled in figure painting, Qinyang decided to also paint a figure. To impress this beautiful female artist, he knew he had to defeat her in her area of expertise. But who should he paint? Luo Yuzhu? Not suitable. He wasn't that familiar with her. Feng Danqing. He was quite familiar with it. But if he were to draw her, what if the painting became famous? If the other beauties found out, it could lead to some trouble. Han Feixue and Feng Danqing were good friends. And now Lu Sisi was also getting along well with them. It was only a matter of time before things got exposed. For a moment, Qinyang didn't know who to draw. Xiao Lin stood by, sneering. Look at you. Can't handle it, can you? A masterpiece isn't that easy to create. As long as you dare to draw, I will dare to critique. Who would believe you could capture 80% of the essence of mountains and rivers? Even you don't believe it, do you? Otherwise, why are you hesitating now? Chapter 228. Upside down truth. Are you going to draw or not? If you don't start now, the sun will set. You don't want to give up, do you? If you can't do it, just admit it openly. We can forgive you if you acknowledge your lie and promise to improve. Xiao Lin wore a proud expression, sarcastically mocking Qinyang from the side. Everything was under control. Today, if Qinyang painted, it would be a loss. If he didn't paint, it would also be a loss. No matter what. He had to keep Qinyang beneath him. The onlookers started to stir. Why isn't he moving his brush? It's been 10 minutes, and he hasn't made a single stroke. What's going on? Isn't it obvious? He can't do it. Exactly. Painting live and achieving such a high standard isn't something just anyone can do. Have you all forgotten? He's not just anyone. He produced mountains and rivers on his second painting. Painting live is nothing to him. Haha. True, he's quite impressive. Wow, that's some serious bragging. It blew up in my face. A group of people pointed and murmured, all filled with mockery and doubt. Feng Danqing was anxious, twisting her hair tightly. She broke quite a few strands without noticing, completely focused on Qinyang, hoping he would have a burst of inspiration. She envisioned him creating a masterpiece in one stroke, delivering a resounding slap to Xiao Lin and showing everyone who was lying and who the real clown was. Unfortunately, Qinyang frowned in deep thought, not moving at all. He had no intention of putting brush to paper. Or rather, he wanted to start, but felt his skills were limited and his confidence lacking. In truth, Qinyang had come up with a brilliant idea. However, he painfully realized that to bring this vision to life, his painting skills at the accomplished level seemed insufficient. He needed to reach perfection to achieve that effect. Damn, am I going to have to cheat? Sigh. I didn't want to, but you all are forcing my hand. Summon the system. Upgrade painting skills. Level up to perfection. Ding. Painting skills are starting to upgrade. Consuming 30 points. Artistic skill upgraded to level 4, perfect state. Master level realm. Remaining points, 150. His painting skills had greatly improved once again. Qinyang felt that the perfect image in his heart was finally within reach. Ignoring the discussions around him, Qinyang remained calm and checked his personal information panel. Host name, Qinyang. Host age, 22 years old. Theoretical lifespan, 120 years. System level. Level 2, 3 pieces of information triggered yesterday. 1 piece today. Lifestyle skills, soulful hands. Level 4 perfect. Masterful driving. Level 3 proficient. Beast language. Level 4 perfect. Multilingualism. Level 4 perfect. Sharpshooter. Level 4 perfect. Artistic brush. Level 4 perfect. 5 elements resurrection needle. Level 4 perfect. Divine singing voice. Level 4 perfect. Special skills. Personal space. Level 3. 10 cubic meters. Golden eyes. Level 1. Scanning range. 1 meter. Whispering. Level 4. Communication range. 30 meters. Combat skills. Combat technique. Level 4 perfect. Invisible thief. Level 4 perfect. Shadowless and formless. Heartbreaker. Level 4 perfect. A single strike to the heart. Star Snatcher. Level 1 beginner. Capturing dragons and binding tigers. Heavenly Step. Level 2 minor achievement. Flying over grass. Cultivation secret techniques. None. Combat power level. Intermediate warrior. Endurance potion. Strength evaluation. With the star snatching hand and heavenly step. Reach the level of advanced bright warrior. Artistic brush skills have reached level 4. Calligraphy and painting skills have been perfected. This is a master level realm. To achieve mastery in any field is to be among the elite. Such individuals are rare, even in the entire region. Suddenly, Qinyang, holding a brush, finally moved. He sketched and painted with wild abandon at times, and at other times, he meticulously carved. His movements were fluid and uninterrupted. Xiao Lin stood beside the easel, observing quietly. At first, he had a look of disdain. What was this random scribbling? It was worse than a primary school student. Gradually, his expression changed. Because Qinyang's painting skills were too proficient, too exquisite, and too remarkable. What seemed like random strokes were actually carefully designed. Every inch, every detail was just right. Neither too much nor too little, neither too bold nor too faint. The brilliance was subtle and would only reveal its depth after a long time. Onlookers were slow to realize. Qinyang, however, was confident and composed. Luo Yuju's expression also grew more serious as she began to see some depth. Initially, she thought Qinyang was just a manipulative fraud. Unexpectedly, this person truly had some skill. Though it was uncertain whether mountains and rivers was his work. Based on his displayed skills, he was at least a very talented painter, not a useless playboy. However, the true level of his art could only be judged by the complete painting. Before long, Qinyang tossed aside the brush, clapped his hands, and stretched. That's a wrap. Xiao, great painter, come take a look. Xiao Lin, Luo Yuzhu, and others all gathered around, eager to see. This was a portrait of a modern beauty. At first glance, it seemed ordinary. Upon closer inspection, it looked like a photograph. Looking closely, it was astonishing. Xiao Lin secretly marveled. He didn't expect this kid to have real talent. Just this one painting surpasses all my works. Stealing a glance at the expressionless Luo Yuzhu beside him, Xiao Lin felt a stir in his heart. Miss Luo is known for her figure paintings and has been praised as a representative artist of the new generation in the art world. If Qin Yang were to rise suddenly, he would inevitably overshadow her brilliance. It seems she also wouldn't want Qin Yang to gain fame, right? Everyone, come take a look. How does Mr. Qin's painting really fare? Some art enthusiasts moved closer to take a closer look. Xiao Lin continued loudly. This painting seems very realistic, but I must say, it's too rigid. In terms of momentum and spirit, it can't compare to mountains and rivers at all. What do you all think? Most of the audience were art lovers with limited appreciation skills. Once they heard that Master Xiao said the painting was mediocre, they naturally believed it. Yeah, I don't see any spirit in it either. Indeed, compared to mountains and rivers, this painting falls far short. After struggling for a long time, to produce such a painting seems to indicate that mountains and rivers could not possibly be the result of a second attempt. Most people tend to follow the crowd. Xiao Lin secretly praised his own cleverness. Feng Danqing felt puzzled. She couldn't quite assess this painting, but she firmly believed in Qin Yang's skills and character. These people, following Xiao Lin's lead, began to criticize Qin Yang, which made her extremely angry. She wanted to argue but lacked the confidence. So she could only look towards Luo Yuzhu for help. The only person present who could overturn Xiao Lin's opinion was Luo Yuzhu. Unfortunately, when Feng Danqing looked at her, Luo Yuzhu was staring blankly at the painting, motionless. Feng Danqing felt a wave of disappointment. Could it be that Luo Yuzhu also didn't have a good opinion of this painting? Or did she not want to help? Xiao Lin secretly smiled. It seemed Miss Luo was feeling conflicted too. Acknowledging the painting's brilliance would harm her own reputation. From then on, when it comes to figure painting, the first person would not be Luo Yuzhu, but Qin Yang. This outcome was certainly not what she wanted, so her feigned ignorance was understandable. Suddenly, there was a commotion at the edge of the crowd. Someone shouted, "Professor Song is here." The crowd quickly parted to make way. Song Mashuan walked in, and Feng Danqing was both surprised and delighted as she hurried over to greet him. However, Song Mashuan did not stop and walked directly toward the newly painted work. After a few glances, he nodded repeatedly. Good, good, good. Such an exquisite figure painting I have only seen in my lifetime, he remarked. To name it after a beauty is indeed fitting. This painting captures all the beauty of a woman. Her appearance, demeanor, gaze, and temperament, all are vividly portrayed. The next moment, Song Mashuan looked at Feng Danqing and then back at the painting. It looks like, and yet it doesn't. How strange. Who is the model for this painting? Feng Danqing was taken aback and stepped closer to examine it. Indeed, she found a resemblance to herself. However, upon closer inspection, it looked completely different. Strangely, she saw the shadow of a certain artist in this painting, as well as the temperament of another. There were some people present who finally understood. Professor Song, do you mean that this painting has a very high artistic level? Song Mashuan adjusted his glasses and said solemnly, of course. This painting has a restrained charm and is full of spirit. It has reached the realm of artistic essence. The beauty in the painting remains still, yet in my perception, every frown and smile is breathtakingly beautiful, forming a dynamic picture. It is both still and moving. And the interplay between motion and stillness is profound and mysterious. Truly, it is a masterpiece from a great master. To be honest, in my lifetime, I have seen many works of calligraphy and painting, but those that reach this level are few and far between. Professor Song Mashuan is the top figure in the local calligraphy and painting community. His words are definitive. There is no doubt that this beauty is a fine masterpiece, a pinnacle work of a master. In an instant, the initial doubts vanished without a trace. Everyone changed their expressions, filled with enthusiasm, praising it in unison. I said it. How could such a vivid painting be anything less? I didn't look closely before, but now that I do, the brushwork is indeed astonishing. Mr. Chun, at such a young age, has such accomplishments. It's remarkable. A new talent has emerged in the local scene. No, a master of calligraphy and painting, destined to reach the heights of a grandmaster in the future. Today has truly been worthwhile. To witness a master create a renowned painting in person is a rare fortune. Seeing everyone praising Qin Yang, Feng Danqing was beaming, even happier than Qin Yang himself. She knew Qin Yang was talented, with an extraordinary gift for calligraphy and painting. However, she didn't expect it to be to this extent. A masterpiece from a great master? This level has already reached par with the top contemporary calligraphy and painting figures in the region. In the future, Qin Yang will undoubtedly have a place in the world of calligraphy and painting. She sincerely felt happy for him. Suddenly, she saw Xiao Lin, a flicker of disdain flashing in her eyes. The renowned artist Xiao. Who was it that said just now that Chunyang's painting was just average and not impressive? Xiao Lin was feeling awkward, wishing no one would notice him. But what one fears often comes true. Feng Danqing's words immediately drew everyone's attention to him. Xiao Lin's face turned various shades of green and white, not knowing what to do. The onlookers Wu Ti let him off easily. It was this guy who made everyone embarrassed, almost mistaking a masterpiece for trash. Ridiculous. Renowned artist Xiao, your appreciation level seems to be questionable. I believe it's not his vision that is lacking, but rather his moral judgment. Indeed, I can't believe that as a professional artist, he wouldn't be able to discern whether this painting is good or not. As an artist, skill is secondary. The most important thing is character and virtue. Without virtue, one may struggle to survive in the calligraphy and painting world, let alone be qualified to ascend to the status of a master or a renowned figure. Xiao Lin felt utterly embarrassed and was about to escape when he noticed Luo Yuzhu still at the scene. Chunyang had made quite an impression with his bold painting, and the one most affected by this was actually Luo Yuzhu. After all, she was the leading figure among the new generation in portrait painting. Now that Chunyang had risen suddenly, he would surely overshadow her brilliance. If she were in Luo Yuzhu's position, the best choice at this moment would be to handle things discreetly, to withdraw the work's mountains and rivers and beauty from the exhibition. Without the opportunity to exhibit, Chunyang's recognition would not be able to expand. At most, it would create some minor ripples within a small circle without overturning his standing in the art world. Thus, Xiao Lin decided not to leave. He wanted to witness how Chunyang would be forced out of the exhibition in a state of embarrassment. Sure enough, at the most awkward moment for Xiao Lin, Luo Yuzhu came to her senses. She excitedly approached the painting of beauty, reaching out as if to touch the beautiful figure's cheek, then hesitated, seemingly afraid of startling the enchanting figure in the painting, her fingers reluctantly pulling back. If Mountains and Rivers was a work that dazzled her, beauty was, in her heart, a flawless masterpiece that completely surpassed all her own works. It even depicted the most perfect image she had in her mind. Such beauty was impeccable in looks, figure, temperament, and charm, fulfilling all her imaginings of a beautiful woman. What was most remarkable was that Chunyang not only conceived of such a figure, but was also able to bring it to life on canvas. This was truly an incredible feat inside. Luo Yuzhu felt quite guilty. Just moments ago, she had thought of Chunyang as a love scammer who had tricked Feng Danqing with some tricks and boasted about being a genius in painting and calligraphy to win her affection. To her surprise, he had not exaggerated at all. In fact, he was overly modest. Under her disregard and contempt, he had made no excuses and did not put on airs, remaining calm and composed, exuding an air of a true master. Suddenly, Luo Yuzhu walked towards Chunyang, bowed at a 90-degree angle, her face full of sincerity. Mr. Chun, I sincerely apologize. I have judged you with a petty mindset and feel truly ashamed. Please forgive me for my earlier negligence and rudeness. Caught off guard by the unexpected turn, Chunyang quickly reached out to support her, his fingers brushing against Luo Yuzhu's delicate arm before he hurriedly withdrew them. Miss Luo, you are being too gracious. It was just a minor matter that I did not take to heart at all. The more indifferent Chunyang was, the more guilty Luo Yuzhu felt. Comparing his magnanimity and composure to herself, she felt utterly ashamed. Her face flushed with embarrassment, and she even felt a bit shy. Feng Danqing noticed her awkwardness and couldn't help but ask, Yuzhu, what exactly do you want to say? Luo Yuzhu bit her lip and suddenly bowed deeply to Chunyang again, once more at a 90-degree angle. Mr. Chun, I am lacking in ability and deeply fascinated by portrait painting. I earnestly request that you consider taking me as your disciple. I am willing to sincerely seek mentorship, humbly learn, and always serve by your side. Chapter 230. Unexpected fame, opportunity arises. Luo Yuzhu's words were astonishing. Not only did Chunyang feel shocked, but everyone around him was equally astonished. Luo Yuzhu, she is a rising star in the calligraphy and painting community of Jiangqing, the top female figure. She has always held herself in high regard, looking down on all men. Who would have thought that today? She would not only take the initiative to admit her mistake, but also request to be mentored? Oh my goodness, is this world too crazy? Without thinking, Chunyang quickly waved his hand. No, Miss Luo, you are a renowned artist. How can an amateur like me be your teacher? This is absolutely inappropriate. Song Mashuan, standing aside, did not express any opinion. If we talk about artistic mastery, Chunyang indeed has the qualifications to be Luo Yuzhu's teacher. However, in terms of age, he is indeed a bit younger. But sometimes, the world of young people doesn't always follow logic. As an elder, Song Mashuan chose to remain silent. Feng Danqing found it quite interesting. Her best friend, who has always prided herself on her exceptional talent and looked down on men as if they were a threat, unexpectedly changed her usual style today and wanted to take her younger brother as a teacher. This situation was amusing in every way. Among those present, only Xiao Lin felt that things were going terribly wrong. Damn, Luo Yuzhu is the woman I have my eye on. How can she take Qin Yang as her teacher? Absolutely not. Yuzhu, I disagree with this. What is Qin Yang? What qualifications does he have to be your teacher? Xiao Lin blocked the way between Luo Yuzhu and Qin Yang, full of anger. Feng Danqing was displeased. What does it have to do with you between those two? What right do you have to disagree? Just as Feng Danqing was about to speak up, Luo Yuzhu stepped forward, pushing Xiao Lin aside with a look of disdain. The reason Qin Yang might have declined her request to be mentored could very well be because this guy, Xiao Lin, has been pestering her, making Qin Yang feel that their relationship is ambiguous. She must decisively draw a clear line. She cannot let Qin Yang misunderstand. Xiao Lin, we have no relationship at all. Why do you disagree? What right do you have to interfere in my matters? Also, who do you think you are to call me Yuzhu? Are we that familiar? She pointed to the door with an exceptionally resolute and cold attitude. Master Xiao, my art exhibition does not welcome you. Please leave immediately. Everyone was taken aback by Luo Yuzhu's actions. Although she has always disliked men, it shouldn't come to the point of kicking someone out, right? After all, both are newcomers in the Jiangxing calligraphy and painting community and are bound to meet in various situations. Kicking someone out is too offensive. Where will that leave Master Zhao's face? However, Feng Danqing felt a sense of satisfaction. This guy, Xiao Lin, has been targeting Qin Yang all along. He even tried to distort the truth, claiming that his beauty painting was simply not good enough. If it weren't for the teacher arriving in time, I would have really been taken advantage of today. People like him deserve to be humiliated. After scolding Xiao Lin, Luo Yuzhu changed her demeanor and looked weakly at Qin Yang. Mr. Chun, I drove Xiao Lin away to vent your anger. Can you agree to take me as your student now? Qin Yang was dumbfounded. So this beautiful woman did all this just to please me? Meanwhile, Xiao Lin, furious, was so angry he almost spewed blood. He bent over, clutching his chest, pointing at Luo Yuzhu and then at Qin Yang, stammering You too. In the end, familiar friends helped Xiao Lin away, his face ashen. Luo Yuzhu, however, didn't even glance at him and continued to focus on Qin Yang, insisting on becoming his disciple. Feng Danqing, not wanting to miss the fun, encouraged Qin Yang to agree. In the end, Qin Yang reluctantly accepted Luo Yuzhu as his student. She was overjoyed and was about to kneel to pay her respects, but Qin Yang firmly stopped her. Just then, someone in the audience interrupted them, asking, "Excuse me, can I buy the painting Mountains and Rivers? I really like it." This was a middle-aged man with elegant manners, looking quite affluent. Qin Yang quickly shook off Luo Yuzhu. I'm sorry, but this painting is not for sale at the moment. The middle-aged man didn't give up. To be honest, I really love it. How about 1 million as an offer? Qin Yang still shook his head. The man thought for a moment and raised the offer to 2 million. Qin Yang remained unmoved. Nearby, an elderly man in traditional attire laughed heartily. This painting is definitely worth more than 2 million. I'll offer 3 million. Can Mr. Chun consider parting with it? Qin Yang was slightly taken aback. His painting was worth that much? So sought after? Indeed, many people at the scene were very interested in this new master. Thinking it was a good opportunity to buy his works while they were still few in number, they believed that once he gained fame, such chances would be hard to come by. In the end, Mountains and Rivers was bid up to 5 million, while Beauty reached an astonishing 8 million. Unfortunately, Qin Yang did not agree to sell. He wasn't short on money, and these two paintings were the second and third he had created after Morning Sun. He wanted to keep them as a memento. However, things turned out to be a bit unexpected. The bidding at the scene became incredibly heated. Someone posted his works online, causing a huge sensation. Renowned calligraphers and painters commented online, stating that these two pieces were rare masterpieces from recent years in the Dragon Country, worth tens of millions. Which didn't seem excessive. This statement immediately triggered a buying frenzy. Many wealthy individuals and collectors directly made offers online, seeking to purchase the famous paintings. The bidding for Mountains and Rivers once soared to 12.8 million, while Beauty was pushed up to 18.5 million. Qin Yang's Douyin account was once again dug up. In a short period, he gained over 10,000 followers. At this moment, his music fans and calligraphy enthusiasts encountered each other from afar, and were surprised to discover that their idol is not only a legendary singer, but also a master of calligraphy and painting. This sparked a new wave of hot topics, directly propelling him onto the trending search list. Although his ranking was low, it still attracted a significant amount of traffic, increasing his followers by another 50,000, bringing the total to over 70,000. Qin Yang felt quite uncomfortable. He never wanted to be famous. How did he suddenly acquire the potential to become an internet celebrity? While having tea in Lu Yuzhu's office, he received a call from Zhuo Xiaojing, who sounded very excited. Yang Gu, you need to come quickly. An opportunity has arisen. Qin Yang stood up abruptly. Quick, what is going on? Zhuo Xiaojing's voice suddenly lowered, sounding mysterious. Jean, who has entered the Dark Fragrance Rose nightclub. The environment is dim and the crowd is complex. I think it's a perfect place for you to take action. Qinyang's spirit was invigorated. All right. Keep an eye on him. I'll be there right away. After hanging up the phone, Qinyang's heart raced. Jinhu, just you wait. That half map is as good as mine. In terms of force, he couldn't defeat Jinhu, so Qinyang had to find other ways. His unique skill, empty hands, was his specialty. As long as the conditions were right, it was entirely possible to stealthily take half a map from Jinhu without him noticing. The dark fragrance rose was a great opportunity. Zhuo Xiaojing was sharp in picking this location. Dim lighting, a mixed crowd, and Jinhu was likely to be distracted. It was the perfect time to act. Under Zhuo Xiaojing's guidance, Qinyang easily located Jinhu. Tonight, Jinhu was very indulgent. Having ordered 4 beautiful women in a private room, all dressed in glamorous outfits, surrounding him. One seductive beauty even sat on his lap, feeding him drinks. After over an hour of drinking, he was already quite tipsy. Qinyang slipped 1,000 yuan to a waiter to deliver a message. Brother Hu. Someone outside is looking for you. Jinhu, drunk and unfocused, stumbled out without a second thought. Qinyang changed into a flashy outfit, messed up his hair, poured a drink into his mouth, and spilled some on himself to smell like alcohol. Under the dim light, he pretended to be a drunken man, keeping his head down and staggering as he brushed past Jinhu. In less than a tenth of a second, he got hold of the half map. Qinyang and Zhuo Xiaojing immediately left the dark fragrance rose and headed to the Moonbay Hotel, to the exclusive penthouse garden suite on the top floor. Qinyang quickly checked the authenticity of the map. Under the light, he pieced the two halves together. All the lines and corners matched perfectly. A prominent red line stood out. This must be the route to the dangerous area, right? Looking at the map in his hand, Qinyang was filled with excitement and disbelief. Isn't this map coming a bit too easily? With the map in hand, things can no longer be delayed. Zhuo Wuyong's illness cannot wait. Jinhu could discover something amiss at any moment. There's no time to waste. Qinyang immediately summoned Zhuo Xiaojing and Wang Fei. For this perilous journey, he intended to take both of them along. After all, it was an adventure. Both of them had military experience and were well-versed in outdoor survival. Having them along would certainly make things much easier. He also called Zhuo Hongmei to give her some instructions. During his absence, she would need to manage the hotel group's affairs. As for the entertainment company, a phone call to Lu Cixi would suffice. Unexpectedly, when Zhuo Hongmei heard they were going to a dangerous area, she insisted on going with them. Her reason was that as a daughter, she had a responsibility to help her father with his illness. Moreover, she felt uneasy leaving Qinyang and her brother Zhuo Xiaojing to go alone. It would be better to join them. An extra person would also add strength. After all, she was a martial artist herself, and her combat ability was not inferior to Zhuo Xiaojing's. In the end, Qinyang had no choice but to agree to take her along. To prevent Jinhu from noticing anything unusual, Qinyang prepared supplies overnight and set off that very night. The 4 of them acted separately to gather cold weapons, medicine, food, water, tents, warm clothing, and various other supplies necessary for survival in the cold, harsh environment of the northeastern mountains. 2 hours later, the spacious trunk of the vehicle was packed to the brim, with supplies even piled on the roof. Zhuo Xiaojing was driving, Wang Fei was in the passenger seat, and Qinyang and Zhuo Hongmei were nestled in the back, enjoying the treatment of leaders. They sped towards the location indicated on the map. The journey was long. In fact, flying would have been quicker, but they had to drive to bring some special equipment. After 2 days and 2 nights of bumpy travel, they kept switching drivers without resting. Following the general direction indicated on the map, they drove deep into the northeastern old forests, where the road ended. They found a farm to temporarily park the vehicle, paid 3,000 yuan, and had the farmer prepare a feast for them. After a hearty meal, they continued their journey. The remaining distance could not be covered by car. They had to walk the rest of the way. Qinyang led the 3 of them, packing all the supplies from the car into their backpacks. All 4 were trained individuals with great strength and endurance, each carrying a large bag. Of course, Qinyang's backpack was the largest, while Zhuo Hongmei, being a girl, had the smallest. As trained individuals, they hiked over 100 miles into the mountains, fully entering the depths of the wilderness. At this point, they could only rely on a compass and the general direction from the map to navigate forward. On the map, there were notable landmarks at intervals, such as a towering tree, a massive rock, a uniquely shaped peak, and a valley, among others. With these reference points, Qinyang can ensure that they won't go in the wrong direction. Everyone, let's work harder. It's getting dark. If we push a bit further, we'll find a sheltered place to set up camp and rest. Qinyang shouted loudly, picking up the backpack from Zhuo Hongmei's back. Zhuo Hongmei wanted to insist, but ultimately couldn't compete with Qinyang. Not only was he the strongest among the 4, but he had also taken stamina-enhancing pills. In terms of physique and endurance, even Wang Fei, who was relatively strong, couldn't compare. 10 Wang Feis wouldn't be able to match 1 Qinyang. With heavy packs, Wang Fei, Zhuo Xiaojing, and Zhuo Hongmei were already panting and drenched in sweat while trekking through the snowy mountains. Qinyang, carrying the largest backpack and holding Zhuo Hongmei's smaller one, only had a few beads of sweat on his forehead and showed no signs of fatigue. Wang Fei took the lead, quickening his pace to look for a campsite ahead. After more than an hour, they came across a small valley. Wang Fei led everyone to find a sheltered spot in the valley. As the sky gradually darkened, everyone hurried to set up their tents. To conserve energy, they only brought 2 small tents. Qinyang was responsible for setting them up while Zhuo Hongmei assisted. Zhuo Xiaojiang went to gather firewood to light a campfire later. It was too cold in the mountains. Without a fire, even with tents, they wouldn't be able to withstand the night. Wang Fei carried a large machete, 2 daggers, and had a crossbow on his back. These weapons were specially prepared for hunting. Although they had brought bread, instant noodles, and jerky, it would be nice to have some wild game for a change. Soon, Qinyang and Zhuo Hongmei finished setting up the 2 tents and went to help Zhuo Xiaojiang gather firewood. Firewood burns quickly, and they needed enough to last the night. Otherwise, they would wake up frozen before midnight. About half an hour later, they had gathered enough firewood, and Wang Fei returned with 2 plump gray rabbits and 2 wild chickens with beautiful feathers. Zhuo Xiaojiang lit the campfire, and Zhuo Hongmei took out the cooking pot to melt snow over the flames. Once the snow melted, it turned into boiling hot water. As Qinyang and his group were enthusiastically preparing dinner, outside the forest, a group of fierce-looking individuals appeared. They were all skilled fighters, and their mission was hunting. Qinyang and his group were their prey. Chapter 232. The Adventure Journey. Crisis follows 80 kilometers away, at a farmer's house where horses were kept. A group of fierce individuals suddenly barged in, led by Jin Hu. Seeing this scene, it was likely that Qinyang would be greatly surprised. Indeed, the reason Qinyang was able to steal the map wasn't due to any extraordinary skills, but because Jin Hu had intentionally let it happen. Qinyang's skills were not enough to steal anything. From the very beginning, this was a trap designed by Jin Hu. After failing to compete with Qinyang for the map, Jin Hu was unwilling to accept defeat. He pondered how to obtain the map and suddenly realized that Zhuo Xiaojiang was following him. Thus, he intentionally exposed a flaw to give his opponent an opportunity. As expected, Qinyang took action and stole half of the map. Jin Hu sneered and decided to turn the tables. He quickly gathered a group of experts to follow Qinyang. Preparing to execute a plan, the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. This time, he was well prepared. The team not only included skilled members of the Jin family, but also several friends from the martial arts world who were high-priced hires. All experienced fighters with exceptional combat abilities. Additionally, there were a few peculiar individuals in the group, short in stature but with a commanding presence, each wielding an Eastern knife. Likely a gang of invaders. Jin Hu treated these individuals with great courtesy, displaying the demeanor of a traitor. It was unclear when the Jin family had allied with them, becoming traitors to their own country. The most mysterious figure was a person shrouded in black cloth, who remained silent throughout, yet exuded an extraordinary aura. Clearly a master with profound skills. Occasionally, he would cough, suggesting some physical discomfort. Jin Hu held this person in high regard, never disturbing him and ensuring he was well taken care of in all aspects of life. This individual was a powerful asset, Jin Hu's greatest confidence for this operation. Under Jin Hu's pressure, a farming family was beaten severely, terrified to the point of revealing Qinyang's whereabouts. Just before leaving, Jin Hu waved his hand, and one by one, the family members fell into a pool of blood, the assailants being the gang of invaders who licked the blood off their knives, revealing cruel smiles. Jin Hu didn't even furrow his brow. Let's go, keep chasing. Led by a tracking expert, Jin Hu's group quickly pursued into the depths of the mountains. At that moment, in the deep forest, illuminated by a bonfire, Wang Fei had already skinned a rabbit and cleaned it with boiling water. He also used boiling water to pluck a wild chicken, gutting it, and cleaning it thoroughly. He chanqilat, fangzai huoshankao. Soon, a sizzling sound could be heard as the fat dripped into the fire, filling the air with a delicious aroma. Wang Fei rotated the game meat while using a dagger to cut slits into it, sprinkling salt and cumin seasoning. It smelled amazing. Zhuo Xiaojiang helped nearby, his nose twitching. Zhuo Hongmei couldn't help but move her fingers, eagerly anticipating the delicious meal to come. Brother Wang, your barbecue skills are really impressive. Wang Fei smiled but said nothing. As he wasn't very talkative, Qinyang sat nearby, studying the map's route, glancing at the golden, fragrant game meat. Unable to hold back a laugh, he said, Brother Wang is the king of special forces. His skills in outdoor hunting and barbecuing are truly exceptional. Zhuo Xiaojiang leaned closer to Wang Fei, grinning. Master, although I have also been a soldier, I still fall far short compared to you. When will you teach me these skills? Qinyang couldn't help but tease him. You brat, isn't Brother Wang teaching you right now? Wang Fei nodded. There's still plenty of time for you to learn on this trip. Zhuo Xiaojiang laughed happily. Before long, the rabbit meat was cooked. Wang Fei tore off a hind leg and handed it to Qinyang. Brother Yang, how about trying my skills? Chen Yang, not only his boss, but also his benefactor, received it with genuine respect. He smiled and took it. Thanks, Fei. Let me try a bit. After tasting a small piece, he exclaimed, not bad, very delicious. He then handed the remaining leg to Zhua Hongmei. Sister Hongmei, you should try this. Brother Fei's skills are really impressive. Zhua Hongmei hesitated for a moment, but still took it. A hint of delight flashed in her beautiful eyes, and her cheeks appeared rosy under the firelight. So good. She smiled sweetly, and quickly glanced at Chen Yang before turning her gaze back to Wang Fei. Brother Fei, with your skills, you could definitely make a fortune running a barbecue stand. Wang Fei chuckled but didn't respond, focusing intently on grilling the meat. Meanwhile, Zhua Xiaojing's wild chicken was also ready. He pulled off a chicken leg and presented it to Chen Yang. Brother Yang, try my skills. Am I at least 80% as good as master? For Zhua Xiaojing, Chen Yang was a special figure, a big brother, an admired idol, a mentor in his career, a guide in martial arts, a spiritual teacher in life, and possibly a future brother-in-law. He eagerly sought Chen Yang's recognition and approval. Chen Yang took the chicken leg with a smile, took a bite, and savored it. It's a bit off, maybe around 60%? Keep working hard. Zhua Xiaojing felt a bit disappointed, but quickly perked up again. Master, is it that my chicken didn't marinate enough? Should I cut a few more slits and sprinkle some seasoning? Would that help? The four of them feasted heartily, savoring every bite and finishing all the game meat. As martial artists, they had strong digestive capabilities and weren't worried about overeating affecting their sleep. Chen Yang also had a few sips of beer to wash it down. After a satisfying meal, they prepared to sleep. Wang Fei and Zhua Xiaojing quickly scrambled into the same tent, leaving one tent available. Chen Yang glanced at the tents and then at Zhua Hongmei, awkwardly smiling. Sister Hongmei, you should sleep. I'll keep watch tonight. In the deep mountains and forests, we can't be sure if wild beasts might appear. Of course, we can't rule out other dangers, such as a surprise attack or a fire from the campfire. It's necessary to have someone on guard. Zhua Hongmei said, you go to sleep first, I'll keep watch for a while. You carried such a heavy backpack today. It must be tiring. Chen Yang waved his hand. It's fine. I'm very strong, not tired at all. The two were still in a bit of a tug of war. Then, someone popped their head out of the nearby tent. Yanggu, you guys should sleep. Xiao Gang and I will take turns keeping watch. I'll take the first half of the night, and he'll take the second half. It was Wang Fei. Chen Yang confirmed. You two can handle it? If you can't, just call me. Another head poked out from the tent. It was Zhua Xiaojing. Yanggu, you guys sleep. My master and I will definitely manage. We won slack off. With the support of the two, Chen Yang and Zhua Hongmei half-heartedly climbed into a small tent. Fortunately, when preparing supplies, everyone had a sleeping bag. Although they were in the same small tent, they were actually sleeping in separate sleeping bags, which wasn't too awkward. However, lying down, they turned their heads to the side and were almost face to face, their breathing clearly audible. Zhua Hongmei's face turned red, and Chen Yang's heart raced. Early the next morning, as dawn broke, Zhua Hongmei was already up, boiling some water to prepare milk and bread, while letting her brother Zhua Xiaojing sleep in a bit longer. After finishing breakfast, Chen Yang suddenly urged everyone to set off quickly. From today onwards, their pace needed to be at least twice as fast as yesterday. Zhua Hongmei was startled. What's going on? Wang Fei and Zhua Xiaojing looked at Chen Yang with puzzled expressions. Chen Yang's face was serious. Jean, who was right behind us and could catch up at any moment. Zhua Hongmei's face paled. That guy? How could he be behind us? Chen Yang looked thoughtful. In hindsight, we were too careless. He has been setting us up from the start. We wanted to steal his map, but he also wanted ours. Since he couldn't get it, he simply gave us his map, using us to guide him. Isn't that even better? Zhua Xiaojing was both angry and regretful. It's all my fault for being used by him. This guy is too malicious. This journey is bound to be extremely dangerous. He made us go first to clear the way while he hides behind, taking advantage of us. Who could be sneakier than him? Wang Fei said in a deep voice. Yanggu, what do we do now? They are following us closely, and we could be caught up at any time. Zhua Hongmei looked worried. He has been scheming against us, and surely is well prepared. The people he brought must all be experts. With our current strength, we definitely can't match them. The situation is very grim. Everyone felt a crisis hanging by a thread. Chen Yang thought for a moment and made some adjustments. From now on, you all should travel light. Distribute the heavier items from your backpacks to me, and I'll share the lighter items with you. Hongmei, give me your backpack too. In this way, our pace can significantly improve. Many wanted to object, but were forcibly stopped by Chen Yang. He was the strongest and had the best physique. The key point was that they did not know Chen Yang had a space. He could easily throw heavy items into the space and use some lighter items to prop up the backpack, so they wouldn't notice. If they could speed up and shake off their pursuers, that would certainly be good. However, this seemed somewhat unrealistic. Chen Yang added, from now on, Fei Gu will lead the way, Xiao Gang will stay in the middle to protect your sister, and I will stay at the back to cover our tracks, making it hard for them to find our direction. I will even set up some misdirection to lead them in other directions, regardless of whether it succeeds or not. Even delaying their pursuit speed a little is beneficial. Everyone nodded in agreement with Chunyang's arrangements. Next, they all worked together to destroy any traces of their campsite as much as possible. The team set off again, with Wang Fei jogging ahead to lead the way. Everyone was alert and followed quickly, being careful not to disturb the existing environment and minimizing any potential traces left behind during their movement. Chunyang stayed at the back, using withered branches and leaves to perform simple trace clearing and concealment. Occasionally, he created some artificial traces to mislead the pursuers in other directions. While everyone was distracted, he made some additional arrangements. Wang Fei proved to be an excellent soldier. During the journey, he utilized the terrain multiple times to destroy traces and confuse directions. For example, when they encountered a river, while most people would wade directly across, Wang Fei led everyone to walk along the stream for several hundred meters, finding a less noticeable spot to quietly come ashore. These methods indeed made things difficult for Jinhu's team, causing them to take many detours. The distance of the pursuit not only did not shorten, but rather increased. For several days in a row, Chunyang and the others had a smooth journey. The daily intelligence system also helped Chunyang earn a lot of points, including the information about Jinhu being behind them and that there were some skilled members in the team, all thanks to the intelligence reports. By the fifth day, Chunyang and his group had already delved deep into the vast snowy plains, with white snow covering everything. As far as the eye could see, it was just white snow, trees, and mountain peaks, making it impossible to distinguish any differences in the surroundings. Without the guidance of a map, they would have found it impossible to locate the correct route. Even with the map in hand, Chunyang had to take it out and study it carefully after every segment of travel before continuing on. At night, they entered a continuous valley where there was a relatively abundant supply of game. Today, luck was on their side. Chunyang learned some throwing knife skills from Wang Fei and surprisingly managed to hunt a deer. They found a sheltered spot in the mountains and cleared the accumulated snow from the ground. Set up the tent and light the campfire. Enjoy the food. The aroma of roasted venison fills the air. After several days of practical experience, not only did Zhuo Xiaojing learn Wang Fei's grilling skills, but Chunyang and Zhuo Hongmei also picked up quite a bit. Everyone pitched in, and soon they were enjoying delicious roasted venison. Gathered around the fire, each person had a piece of venison and a bottle of beer, chatting and eating without feeling the cold or hardship. Instead, there was a sense of freedom and comfort. Don't ask why, but despite drinking beer for so many days, there was still plenty left. With Chunyang around, there was certainly no shortage. Before setting out, Chunyang visited a large supermarket and filled his portable space with various food and supplies. He carried the largest backpack, and whenever something ran out, he would pull it out from his pack, always finding exactly what he needed. With venison in his mouth, grease dripping, Zhuo Xiaojing laughed heartily. Yanggu, this trip feels less like an adventure and more like a vacation. We haven't encountered any danger, just feasting. This venison is really good. So tasty. Chunyang took a sip of beer. You little rascal, always thinking about the good things. There were dangers in front and pursuers behind. And you call this a vacation? Just wait till we reach a perilous place and face danger. You'll be scared to death. Zhuo Hongmei smiled softly, and Wang Fei shook his head. Zhuo Xiaojing, undeterred, insisted, we've been through life and death. It's not like we haven't seen the battlefield. Before he could finish, a sudden roar from a beast echoed in the distance. Oh whoa. Zhuo Xiaojing immediately stopped boasting, and everyone listened intently. Wang Fei's expression changed. Not good, it's a wolf howl. Zhuo Hongmei looked puzzled. Fei Ge, is a wolf howl really that scary? Wang Fei quickly explained, one wolf is certainly not frightening. But what if it's a pack of wolves? Wolves are pack animals, usually hunting in groups. From the sound, they're not far from here, at least a dozen or more. Chunyang felt a stir of concern. Could it be that we've been exposed? Wang Fei shook his head. That shouldn't be the case. Wolves don't make noise before launching an attack. This sound is more like a rallying cry before an assault. Zhuo Xiaojing pondered for a moment. Could it be that Jinhu and his group have caught up and encountered a pack of wolves? Everyone's hearts tightened, revealing their worries. Since Jinhu dared to pursue, he must have had a plan. The strength of his team would certainly surpass their own. Among the four of them, only Chunyang could match Jinhu. If there was just one more person in Jinhu's group who was on par with him, they would be in danger. It was possible that their strength far exceeded expectations. That would mean certain doom. Chunyang made a quick decision. Let us go? We'll sneak over and take a look at the situation from a distance. Zhuo Xiaojing was confused. Yanggu, aren't you saying this the wrong way? Shouldn't we be making a run for it right now? Chapter 234. The Great Battle with the Wolf King. Zhuo Xiaojing's words echoed the thoughts of others. We know there's danger there, yet we don't run, but instead approach? Is that reasonable? Chunyang naturally had his considerations. I know what you all are thinking. However, at such a close distance, does it make a difference whether we run or not, given the strength of Jinhu and his group? Can we outrun them with our abilities? Qinyang scanned the group. Of course, if we get serious, there's definitely a difference. Running a bit earlier increases our chances of survival. But fortune favors the bold. What if they end up hurting each other in a fight with the wolf pack? Wouldn't that give us an opportunity? A sly smile played at the corners of Chen Yang's mouth. Wang Fei's eyes flashed. Brother Yang, are you thinking of taking advantage of the chaos? Shui Xiaojing grinned wickedly. A sneak attack? Taking advantage of the fire? Zhuo Hongmei also guessed. When the clam and the heron fight, the fisherman benefits. Qin Yang raised a finger and shook his head. No, I think it's more accurate to say, to go with the flow. He had already grasped the situation. If the wolf pack wins, we retreat. That is the least likely scenario. If both sides are injured, we can step in and deliver a final blow. When you're sick, I take your life. After all, Jin Hu and his group are here to deal with us. Of course, that possibility isn't very high either. Qin Yang analyzed carefully, preparing for different outcomes. What if the wolf pack is too weak and gets taken down quickly by Jin Hu and his men? We'll still sneak in and sneak out, leaving no trace behind. We'll escape as quickly as possible. The three exchanged glances and nodded in agreement. Qin Yang's strategy was indeed much smarter than simply fleeing. The four of them quietly packed their belongings, dismantled the tent, and extinguished the campfire. They packed everything up and cleared away all traces, stealthily making their way toward the howling wolves. After about 20 minutes, the four crawled up a slope, hiding behind some rocks to observe the valley below. By a campfire, two young women, one in red and the other in white, were back to back, wielding long swords as they fought against a pack of wild wolves. Huh, they're not Jin Hu and his group? Shui Xiaojing exclaimed first. Qin Yang felt a surge of joy inside. As long as they're not Jin Hu, it means they've increased their pace these past few days and set up some misleading tactics. It's had some effect. Jin Hu and his group haven't caught up yet. We're safe for now. Look, those two beauties are in danger. Zhuo Hongmei cried out. Qin Yang focused his gaze and, sure enough, saw the situation. The two women were quite skilled. The one in red was decisive in her attacks. Every move a deadly strike, clearly a top-notch warrior. The one in white was even more impressive, handling her long sword with such precision and speed. She seemed like the wind, sharp and formidable. It was evident she had a solid martial arts foundation and was a master in her own right. Unfortunately, surrounded by at least 10 wild wolves, they were tall and fierce. Not far away, on a giant rock, stood the strongest wolf king, flanked by a circle of large wolves. In the shadows, countless wild wolves were lurking. At this moment, the wolf king appeared extremely angry, howling at the sky. Another group of wild wolves joined the fray. The two women were already in a precarious situation. Qin Yang made a quick decision. Fei Xiaogang, you two go over and help them fend off the attack. Hongmei, you stay here to observe the situation and provide timely warnings. Capture the leader first. I'll deal with that wolf king. Without waiting for anyone to respond, he charged out, heading straight for the wolf king. Wang Fei and Zhuo Xiaogang, worried about Qin Yang's safety, quickly followed suit. The woman in white was named Mu Wanqing. She was the eldest daughter of the martial arts family Mu and also the beautiful president of Tianmu Pharmaceuticals, a company run by the Mu family. Unfortunately, the Mu family specialized in medicinal materials and pharmaceuticals, and her grandfather, Mu Chantian, had lost his ability to move due to a lack of spiritual medicine and spent his days in a wheelchair. This time, Mu Wanqing had heard that there was a spiritual herb called nine-leaf grass in a mysterious place that could heal her grandfather's leg injury. She came for the adventure accompanied only by her bodyguard, Luo Hong. Unexpectedly, shortly after setting up camp, they were targeted by a pack of wolves. Were they really going to die here? Suddenly, two people burst in from the outside, violently clearing a path by kicking over 3 or 4 wild wolves to enter the encirclement. Don't be afraid, ladies. We're here to help you, Wang Fei said. Calm and reassuring. Mu Wanqing's heart lifted. Thank you. There are too many wild wolves. Please be careful. Then, the 4 of them stood back to back, forming a circle to face the wolf pack. The wolf king, noticing the human reinforcements, was furious. With a howl, it commanded a large wolf beside it to lead 7 or 8 ordinary wolves down to provide support. The pressure on the 4 increased significantly. The wolf king, pleased with itself, was about to laugh maniacally when a stone struck its head. Bang! Shaking its head, the wolf king saw a human charging from its side, attempting a sneak attack. Enraged, the wolf king leaped down from the rock, pouncing towards Qin Yang. Qin Yang was startled and took off running. The wolf king gave chase, quickly distancing itself from the pack. 2 giant wolves behind, worried for their leader, hurried to catch up. Qin Yang, using a special technique, was fast enough to match the wolf king's speed. However, he held back his pace, allowing the wolf king to close in. Just as the wolf king was about to catch him, Qin Yang suddenly turned around, looking at the wolf king with a smile. The wolf king was terrified, its fur standing on end. That smile looked so eerie and frightening. Qin Yang struck down with his palm, aiming for the wolf king's head. The Wolf King reacted with remarkable agility, tilting its head in midair to avoid the fatal blow. The right leg was grazed by a powerful strike. Chen Yang's heartbreaking palm had reached perfection. With one palm strike aimed at the heart, despite the Wolf King's extraordinary talents, its leg bones still broke. After hitting the ground, it rolled away, howling in pain. The two giant wolves behind it were its guards. Seeing their leader injured, they immediately turned fierce and charged at Chen Yang, opening their massive jaws to bite at his neck. If they succeeded, it would surely mean death. Chen Yang executed a bridge maneuver, lying flat to evade the fatal blow. He then struck the giant wolf's abdomen with a palm. The wolf's insides were shattered, and it fell to the ground, wailing in despair. The other giant wolf rushed in as well, learning from the previous encounter. It lowered its head and aimed for Chen Yang's calf, targeting lower ground. This was a clever wolf. At a critical moment, Chen Yang leaped into the air, gaining the high ground. With his left hand, he grabbed the giant wolf's neck and struck down with his right hand. Bang! The skull remained intact, but the brain inside turned to pulp. The heartbreaking palm was truly ruthless. In an instant, both guards fell to the ground. The injured Wolf King was terrified. It tucked its tail and limped into the darkness, fleeing for its life. As it left, it let out a couple of howls, calling its subordinates to retreat. The wolf pack, hearing their leader's command, scattered in all directions. Mu Wanqing and the others were in a fierce battle with the wolves, almost having their defenses breached. Unexpectedly, the wolf pack suddenly retreated. What was going on? She was a bit confused. Would the wolves really give up such a prime opportunity? Zhuo Xiaojing exaggeratedly patted his chest, relieved. His life was finally saved. It was clear that it was thanks to Chen Yang. He must have dealt with the Wolf King successfully. Indeed. The four of them looked up to see Chen Yang walking towards them from the hillside. All the wild wolves, upon seeing him, turned and ran, tails tucked between their legs. The previously visible Wolf King and the unusually large giant wolf guards had completely vanished. Brother Yang, did you kill the Wolf King? Zhuo Xiaojing asked loudly. Chen Yang shook his head. No, I had a discussion with it, and it felt it couldn't defeat me, so it left. Zhuo Xiaojing was skeptical. Really? Chen Yang smiled, but said nothing. Mu Wanqing, seeing him for the first time, felt he was charming, powerful, and low-key, exuding an air of mystery. Having fought alongside each other, she noticed that Wang Fei and Zhuo Xiaojing were quite skilled. Although they were slightly weaker than her, they were not inferior to Luo Hong. Especially Wang Fei, who could take on both Zhuo Xiaojing and Luo Hong together, was a rare talent. In a short time, both sides had introduced themselves. Mu Wanqing knew that Wang Fei and Zhuo Xiaojing were subordinates of the man before her. This alone proved that he was not ordinary. Soon, Chen Yang approached them. Mu Wanqing warmly welcomed him in Dudong Senchu Yirsho. Thank you for saving my life, Chen Yang. Chen Yang's expression was quite calm. He had seen many beautiful women and was indeed immune to their charm. He gently shook her hand and then let go. Mu Wanqing was slightly taken aback. What does this mean? Does he find me unappealing? It was the first time she had ever experienced such treatment. The first time someone had been so nonchalant in front of her, as if she were just an ordinary person. Didn't he notice that this young lady looks quite good? Luo Hong also stepped forward, not offering a handshake, but just nodding her head. Thank you. She was a reserved person, often hiding her thoughts. However, her gaze was very warm. Chen Yang smiled and nodded. These two beauties had impressive looks and figures, but their temperaments were completely different. Mu Wanqing was poised and elegant, while Luo Hong was sharp and decisive. Chen Yang couldn't help but wonder. To save someone and encounter two outstanding beauties. Was this luck? Chen Yang, are you okay? Suddenly, Zhuo Hongmei ran down the slope, rushing to Chen Yang and checking him for injuries. Mu Wanqing and Luo Hong were a bit surprised. Did this handsome guy already have a girlfriend? Chen Yang smiled and shook his head. Sister Hongmei, I'm fine. Zhuo Hongmei felt relieved. That's good. Zhuo Xiaojing, standing nearby, felt seriously ignored. Sister, what's going on? Who is your real brother? Why don't you ask me if I'm okay? Zhuo Hongmei felt a bit embarrassed, her pretty face turning red. She rushed to Zhuo Xiaojing and gently asked, Xiaojing, how are you? Are you hurt? In the next moment, Zhuo Xiaojing unexpectedly exclaimed, Hey, sister, be gentle. I was fine before, but now I'm hurt. After some conversation, they learned about Mu Wanqing and Luo Hong's identities and why they were there. Mr. Chen, I would like to ask you for a favor, if you don't mind, Mu Wanqing said, looking at Chen Yang. Chen Yang instinctively nodded. Miss Mu, please go ahead. Mu Wanqing organized her thoughts. I would like you to take us to find the spiritual herb. I came here purely by chance, without a map. And I definitely can't find the location. You can rest assured, I understand the rules. I only need 1 9-leaf clover to treat my grandfather. I won't take anything else. Chen Yang frowned slightly, not answering. The map to the dangerous area was something he had obtained with great effort and risk. Half of it belonged to Zhuo uncle. How could he casually share it with others? Mu Wanqing also realized that this was a difficult request. Mr. Chen, I know this request might seem abrupt. As long as you help with this, the Mu family will be very grateful. Additionally, I am willing to offer 100 million as the funding for this expedition, completely at your discretion. Qin Yang glanced at Mu Wanqing. This young lady knows how to conduct herself. The amount of 100 million is clearly a reward, but she tactfully refers to it as the expedition's activity funds, giving Qin Yang face. Indeed, Qin Yang was somewhat tempted. Not for the money, but because the Mu family is a martial arts family with significant influence in the secular world. Building a good relationship with such a family naturally brings many benefits. If they want my help, it's not impossible, but I have one condition. Mu Wanqing immediately smiled. What condition? Just say it. Qin Yang said, on this journey, there are many dangers. You two must follow my arrangements and cannot act independently. Moreover, we have pursuers behind us who may catch up at any time. You need to be mentally prepared. Mu Wanqing and Luo Hong exchanged glances. All right, I agree. The two small teams merged into one. Qin Yang and the others rebuilt two small tents. Wang Fei, Zhou Xiaojing, and Luo Hong took turns keeping watch at night. Zhou Hongmei, feeling shy, chose to share a tent with Mu Wanqing and Luo Hong. Qin Yang was the most comfortable, not having to keep watch and enjoying a tent to himself. Not long after lying down, his phone buzzed with a bank notification. His account had increased by 100 million. Mu Wanqing was quite quick. The reward was credited immediately. As dawn broke, everyone got up, had breakfast, packed their belongings, destroyed traces, and prepared to set off. With one more person for the watch, Wang Fei and Zhou Xiaojing extended their sleeping time a bit, feeling refreshed. The six of them raced forward. Qin Yang noticed that both Mu Wanqing and Luo Hong were quite capable, though they were burdened with quite a lot of gear. He proactively took their heavier items and stuffed them into his own backpack, which actually went into his personal space. Are you all right? Mu Wanqing looked at Qin Yang with concern. Qin Yang smiled and shook his head. Luo Hong coolly expressed her thanks. With the two women's burdens lightened, the team's progress speed increased further. Suddenly, Zhou Xiaojing looked up at the sky and pointed to a small black dot. Have you noticed something strange? Chapter 236. The fierce tiger patrols the mountain. Terrifying indeed as they rushed forward. Zhou Hongmei was panting and took out a bottle of farmer's mineral water, gulping down a big mouthful. I also find it quite strange. That eagle has been circling overhead. Mu Wanqing and Luo Hong remained silent, as they had just joined today and hadn't noticed anything unusual. However, Wang Fei mentioned another odd occurrence. In the past few days of hunting, I encountered the same fierce beast multiple times. Zhou Xiaojing was startled. What fierce beast? Wang Fei slowly replied. A cheetah. A strong and agile cheetah. The strange thing is, it didn't attack me. Even when I showed hostility a few times, it didn't retaliate but instead retreated. That's really strange. Zhou Xiaojing's imagination ran wild. Yang Gu, do you think these two creatures could be scouts released by the Golden Tiger? Are you specifically looking for our location? Zhou Hongmei nodded. Yes. It doesn't attack. It just wants to remain hidden. Mu Wanqing was also a bit worried. Everything, both above and below, is under surveillance. How can we hide? Qin Yang's heart sank. This is bad. These two fools are more likely to cause trouble than to help. If they fail to keep watch, they might accidentally reveal our location. How could that be? For now, it's better to dispel my teammates' doubts. I think it must be a coincidence. If you don't believe me, let us bet. In a while, you won't see anything. Of course, no one believed him. After following for several days, how could it be a coincidence? As a result, half an hour later, the eagle and the leopard indeed disappeared. Qin Yang put on a performance. See, I told you it was a coincidence, right? Is there anything still tailing us? Zhou Xiaojing scratched his head. This is strange. Could it be that I was overthinking? Wang Fei was puzzled. Zhou Hongmei let out a sigh of relief. It's good that they're gone. The feeling of being monitored is really uncomfortable. In fact, while everyone was ahead, Qin Yang quietly used beast language to command the eagle and the leopard. They transitioned from the open to the hidden, expanding their vigilance and increasing the distance. He couldn't let his teammates discover this, nor could he let Jin Hu and his group see them. Otherwise, vigilance would turn into a guide, directly exposing their location, which would be a joke. On the seventh day, Qin Yang and his group had already ventured deep into the border. The mountains were high and the forests dense. A human forbidden zone. Here, even professional herbalists couldn't reach. Mu Wanqing, as a descendant of a medicinal family, was familiar with various precious herbs. She excitedly discovered that there were good herbs everywhere, even spotting ginseng that was over 100 years old, which made her eager to dig them up. Qin Yang had obtained the 5 elements revival needle skill, which also included various herbal legacies. He was naturally familiar with these as well. He was only interested in precious herbs, especially those with longer ages. Each one was worth a fortune, starting at least from 100,000, with many even reaching millions. The group helped the two of them gather herbs, and before they knew it, they had strayed apart. The sky was nearing dusk. Qin Yang had collected quite a few good herbs, and then realized that only Zhou Hongmei and Wang Fei were beside him. Mu Wanqing and Luo Hong were nowhere to be found, and even that little brat Zhua Xiaojing was missing. Xiaojing! Xiaojing! Qinyang shouted loudly. There was no response. Zhua Hongmei was also anxious. Xiaojing, Wanqing, Luo Hong, where are you? Wang Fei followed behind Qinyang, looking around, even climbing a big tree for a better view. But still couldn't he see the three. Qinyang was really anxious. It was getting late. We must find them before dark. Otherwise, they might encounter danger. Now, we should split into two groups. Fei Gu, you stay with Sister Hongmei and take care of her. We agreed to meet back here in an hour. How about that? Unexpectedly, Zhua Hongmei and Wang Fei both disagreed. Wang Fei didn't speak, but his intentions were clear. He didn't want to separate. Zhua Hongmei anxiously grabbed Qinyang's arm. Yangzi, should we stay together? What if it gets dark and they can't find us? We won't be able to regroup. What should we do? Qinyang had no choice but to compromise. All right, then we'll stick together. Qinyang led the way, with Zhua Hongmei in the middle and Wang Fei bringing up the rear. They headed upwards, hoping that the higher they climbed, the farther they could see, and that they could find the three who got separated. Suddenly, a fierce roar of a beast echoed from a distance. Wang Fei's face changed dramatically. It's a tiger. Qinyang and Zhua Hongmei felt a shiver run through them. If a tiger could survive here, it had to be a Siberian tiger. That creature was huge and fierce, with incredible fighting power, not something an ordinary person could handle. Then, faint cries of terror reached their ears. Qinyang recognized the screams of Mu Wanqing and Luo Hong, mixed with the voice of Zhua Xiaojing. Qinyang dashed out, heading straight for the area where the tiger was. Zhua Hongmei and Wang Fei followed closely behind. It turned out that Mu Wanqing had become overly excited upon seeing countless rare medicinal herbs and had started digging without realizing she had lost the group. Only Luo Hong stayed by her side. Zhua Xiaojing, with nothing to do, noticed the two girls were missing and began searching for them. He eventually found them from a distance, just as a tiger lunged at Mu Wanqing. Startled, Mu Wanqing ran away. And Luo Hong followed for a while, but realized the tiger was getting too close. Wanqing, you go ahead, I'll hold it off. Without waiting for Mu Wanqing to agree, she stopped, drew her sword, and prepared to fight the tiger. However, the tiger was exceptionally fierce. Luo Hong's sword thrust at its neck was deflected by a paw, only grazing its fur. She herself was injured, her clothes ripped, and blood flowed from her shoulder, even sustaining internal injuries. The tiger's immense strength was beyond what an ordinary person could withstand. At this critical moment, fortunately, Mu Wanqing and Zhua Xiaojing arrived simultaneously to confront the tiger together. Sadly, the two of them combined were still no match for the tiger. The tiger roared in anger and launched an attack, putting Mu Wanqing and Zhua Xiaojing in grave danger, at risk of being killed at any moment. Suddenly, Qinyang descended from the sky, landing directly on the tiger's neck. Before it could react, he struck down with a palm, hitting the tiger's head solidly. The tiger's skull was hard, but it couldn't withstand this overwhelming martial arts power and became somewhat dazed. Qinyang didn't dare to slack off and went all out. Boom, boom, boom. He struck 3 more times at the same spot, shattering the skull and splattering the brain matter. With a loud thud, the tiger collapsed. Qinyang dusted off his hands and calmly got off the tiger's back. Mu Wanqing, still trembling, asked, "Is it really dead?" Qinyang nodded. "The brain matter has come out. Do you think it can still survive?" After speaking, he sat cross-legged. Gathering his energy for a week to recover from the earlier consumption, Mu Wanqing let out a long sigh and plopped down in the snow. This fierce tiger was too brutal, much stronger than an ordinary one. Zhua Xiaojing was almost scared to the point of losing control. It was all thanks to the boss, who managed to subdue it with a few strikes. Otherwise, the 3 of them would have fallen into the tiger's jaws and become its meal. Suddenly, Luo Hong spat out a mouthful of blood and collapsed to the ground. Chapter 237. Treating Sister Hong. The wolf pack's revenge. Sister Hong? Mu Wanqing scrambled up and rushed to Luo Hong's side, immediately checking her condition with a grave expression. As a descendant of a medical family, mastering medicine was essential. Not to say she was a divine doctor, but she was at least a well-known physician. Without delay, Mu Wanqing took out a century-old ginseng, sliced several pieces, and stuffed them into Luo Hong's mouth. She then tore open the fabric on her shoulder, revealing a bloody wound, and sprinkled some hemostatic and anti-inflammatory medicine on it. Using a strip of cloth, she bandaged it simply. Feeling Luo Hong's weak breathing, she took her pulse and discovered that Luo Hong had sustained internal injuries, with damage to her organs. This was troubling. It required unblocking the meridians to accelerate the flow of qi and blood, delivering the medicinal properties of the century-old ginseng to the injury to stimulate recovery. Otherwise, if time passed, there would be a risk to her life. Unfortunately, Mu Wanqing's medical skills were limited. She couldn't perform acupuncture or other methods to unblock the channels. Luo Hong's injury was critical. At that moment, Zhua Hongmei and Wang Fei also rushed over. Seeing that Zhua Xiaojing and Qinyang were unharmed, she finally felt relieved. However, noticing Mu Wanqing's worried expression, She took the initiative to ask, Wanqing, what's wrong? Is Sister Hong's injury very serious? Mu Wanqing nodded sorrowfully. Yes, it's very serious. We must return immediately for treatment. But right now, she can't move at all. If she doesn't move, she might hold on for a day or two, but once she tries to move, she won't last half a day. As she spoke, tears streamed down her face. Luo Hong opened her eyes and struggled to speak. Wanqing, I'm fine. Don't worry. Her eyes were filled with tenderness, completely devoid of her usual decisive demeanor. Mu Wanqing's tears suddenly flowed faster, like a stream bursting its banks. Sister Hong, why are you so foolish? Why put yourself in danger? Luo Hong's face was pale, her voice intermittent. Protecting you is my duty and mission. Besides, you're my sister. I can't let anything happen to you. Mu Wanqing cried out loud, and Zhua Hongmei's eyes also turned red, following suit with tears. Wang Fei and Zhua Xiaojing hung their heads, and a wave of sorrow filled the air. At this moment, Qinyang finished gathering his energy, suddenly stood up, and walked towards Luo Hong. Let me give it a try. Mu Wanqing's eyes lit up. You know medicine? Qinyang nodded. I know a little. His fingers, gently resting on Luo Hong's wrist, he checked her pulse and found it quite serious. Fortunately, with the support of an ancient ginseng, her life was not in immediate danger. Sister Hong, I plan to use the golden needle method to stimulate your vitality. You'll need to take off your top for easier access to the acupuncture points. Do you mind? Luo Hong widened her eyes and looked at Qinyang. 3 seconds later, she suddenly closed them. She neither agreed nor opposed. Qinyang was taken aback and turned to Mu Wanqing. Miss Mu, what do you think? Mu Wanqing understood Luo Hong's meaning and blushed. Gritting her teeth, she said, It's fine, I'll help her. Zhua Hongmei quickly came over to assist. She also turned to Zhua Xiaojing and Wang Fei. You two, stop lurking around and get lost. Wang Fei's face turned beet red as he hurried away, but Zhua Xiaojing looked disgruntled, mumbling as he walked. What did I do? Why am I the bad guy? Yang Gu is a man too. Why can he look? Wang Fei kicked him in the rear. Get out of here. Don't embarrass yourself. As Mu Wanqing and Zhua Hongmei got to work, a faint flush appeared on Luo Hong's pale face. Her eyelashes trembled, but she kept her eyes tightly shut. Afraid to open them, Zhua Hongmei couldn't help but click her tongue in surprise. She hadn't expected Luo Hong, who seemed devoid of femininity, to have such a great figure. The tight binding completely concealed her pride, revealing a slim and smooth waist with no excess flesh, and her abdominal muscles were quite pronounced. Such a small waist would make any woman envious, let alone a man. She glanced sideways at Qinyang and found him calm. He took out a row of silver needles from his luggage, heating and sterilizing them with his internal energy before inserting them into various acupuncture points on Luo Hong's upper body. This guy was indeed a gentleman. Qinyang was startled. That was close. He almost let Sister Hong discover his inappropriate thoughts. Wow, this figure is no wonder she's a seasoned female soldier. Slim and well-proportioned, strong, with a delicate and smooth feel. Her flexibility must be impressive too. Stop. Don't think too much. Qinyang focused on treating her. The 5 elements returning needle had already reached a perfect state, at a master level. With the assistance of his internal energy and the medicinal properties of the ancient ginseng, the effect was remarkable. In less than half an hour, Luo Hong's internal injuries had improved by 60%. However, they still needed to hurry. This level of recovery wasn't enough. Qinyang continued the treatment. After another half hour, her internal injuries improved by 80%. Qinyang withdrew the needles. Sister Hong, how do you feel? Luo Hong slowly opened her eyes, and what met her gaze was a sunny, handsome face. Her cheeks flushed again. I feel much better. Thank you. Qinyang smiled and waved his hand. Sister Hong, just call me Yangzi. He then looked at Mu Wanqing. Miss Mu, you can call me that too. Mu Wanqing had been observing Qinyang and noticed that he not only did not take advantage of the situation, but was also calm and decisive, with superb medical skills. In just 1 hour, it's truly remarkable how Luo Hong has managed to recover from such serious injuries. Indeed, he is an extraordinary person. All right, Yangzi. Don't be so polite with me, just call me Wanqing. I really appreciate your help this time. Qinyang smiled slightly. We are teammates. We should support each other and work together, right? Mu Wanqing was momentarily taken aback. That's right. We are teammates, sharing life and death. The group quickly dealt with the situation and set off again. It was already dark, and they needed to find a nearby campsite. The nights here were incredibly cold. Moreover, traveling at night was not safe. Besides the risk of falling into cliffs or deep pits, they could also attract attacks from venomous creatures and wild beasts. At this moment, Jean, who was leading a large group, still pursuing them from behind. Every time he felt he was close to catching up with Qinyang, he would find that the other party had long since fled upon reaching the location. After several days of relentless pursuit, Jean Hu and his team were exhausted. Yet they had no choice but to grit their teeth and press on. If they pushed a little further, they were sure to catch up. Jean Hu kept encouraging them. Unfortunately, everyone was not foolish. After being misled too many times, who would still believe it? As darkness fell, someone suggested resting for the night. However, Jean who disagreed. Perhaps they were resting now, which meant that we should run even more. If we walk for another hour, we might just catch up. The group had no choice but to keep pushing on. In the distance, the sound of wolf howls echoed. Everyone was worried that they might be targeted by a pack of wolves. Jean who, however, remained calm. It's fine. This is a deep forest. Hearing wolves at night is quite normal. Let us keep our movements quiet. As long as we don't provoke them, they definitely won't attack us. The group felt somewhat reassured and continued their journey. On a distant hillside, the slightly limping Wolf King stood alone at a high point, staring intently at the human group. In his cold gaze, a bloodthirsty ferocity flickered. Chapter 238. Heavy Casualties. Unknown dangers. Wolves are creatures that hold grudges. After being injured by Qin Yang, the Wolf King returned to his lair and summoned all the wolves, totaling over 100 fierce wild wolves, to pursue Qin Yang and reclaim their honor. However, Qin Yang and his group were too fast. By the time the wolf pack arrived, they had already fled far away. The Wolf King roared in anger. But a subordinate reported spotting another group of humans in the distance. The Wolf King climbed up to take a look and indeed saw humans. Howl! Let us attack. My pups. Bite them to death. Tear them to shreds. The Wolf King issued the order to attack. Unfortunately, Jean who did not understand the language of beasts. Among the team, someone felt anxious and quickly reminded Jean who. Boss, we should hide. I feel that the wolf pack doesn't come with good intentions. Jean who had just said that the wolves wouldn't attack. How could he contradict himself now? He laughed heartily, pretending to be calm. It's fine. Not to mention that the wolf pack won't attack, even if they dare to come. Do we fear a few beasts with so many skilled fighters among us? The team continued to move forward. No defensive measures were taken at all. The pack of wolves launched a strategic attack. Over 100 wild wolves surrounded them. Yet there was not a sound. Ah, wolves. Oh no, they're biting me, get away. Almost simultaneously, 3 people in different positions of the group were ambushed by the wolves. Almost all of them were attacked from the throat. In the blink of an eye, they fell silent and were dragged into the depths of the forest. Everyone be careful, there are wolves attacking. Jean who shouted loudly, organizing people for defense. It was only then that he realized something was wrong. Moving from the front of the group to the back, he discovered they were already surrounded by countless wolves. The 3 attacked individuals were nowhere to be seen, alive or dead. The group began to panic. Everyone was well trained, as long as they maintained high vigilance. One person could handle one wild wolf without issue. The team fell into chaos, each fighting for themselves. They formed a circle, backs against each other, defending together. Jean who tried to organize an effective defensive perimeter, but unfortunately, visibility was poor at night. The wolves' attacks were relentless. They couldn't see how many wolves there were. Only feeling an endless tide. They killed one, and 3 more would leap forward. The Wolf King grew angrier. Its cubs had already been killed over 10. This loss was significant. Revenge was necessary. The pack's attack intensified. Even Jean who was besieged by 3 wild wolves. He was anxious. Drawing his treasured sword and wielding it with vigor to subdue the wolves. Unfortunately, screams echoed from the group as 5 more people were injured by the wolves. Among them, 3 were directly dragged away, disappearing into the darkness. Baka. One soldier swung his eastern blade, severing a wolf's paw. But he too had a large chunk of flesh torn from his thigh, a gruesome wound. Another soldier was caught between 2 wild wolves and had his throat locked. He trembled a few times before dying. He was dragged into the woods, becoming a meal. The cries of despair rose and fell. Jean who was sweating anxiously. He had known this trip was unsafe and extremely dangerous. He never expected that before Qin Yang even arrived, they would suffer such losses. He gritted his teeth and approached the mysterious figure in black, whispering a few words. The mysterious figure, wrapped in black cloth, said nothing but nodded slightly. He stepped out of the group, his body moving like an arrow shot from a bow, heading straight for the Wolf King commanding from above. The Wolf King was startled and suddenly remembered the scene from the previous night when Qin Yang had beaten it severely. A woo! A command was given. 2 giant wolf guards rushed to face the threat, protecting their leader. The mysterious figure smiled coldly. With a flash of the blade, a massive arc of light swept through. Bang! Bang! 2 enormous wolf heads rolled to the ground. With one strike, even the ghosts were startled. The onlookers in the distance were left dumbfounded. What level of skill is this? It's terrifying. The mysterious figure in black continues to advance, step by step. It seems to be moving slowly, but in reality, it is incredibly fast. Before you know it, it has approached. The Wolf King senses danger closing in. It is injured, its legs are not yet healed. It must escape. Just as it intends to order a full retreat, another wave of blades strikes down. With a splatter of blood, the wolf's head rolls. The once mighty Wolf King meets its end here. The wolf pack realizes that their leader is dead, led by the strongest giant wolf. The wild wolves tuck their tails and flee in panic. The howls are filled with sorrow and fear. In an instant, they scatter completely. The mysterious figure in black strolls back. Everyone makes way for him, their eyes filled with awe and admiration. In the world of martial artists, the strong are respected. This person is undoubtedly a master, someone who must not be offended. The wolf pack's attack was half-hearted, yet it caused great casualties to the Golden Tigers team. 8 dead, 5 seriously injured, and 7 lightly wounded. The deceased are to receive a generous settlement. The seriously injured need to be carried on stretchers while being treated on the way. The lightly wounded are simply bandaged and continue on their journey. They find a place to set up camp and light a bonfire. The once lively group now feels lifeless. Occasionally, someone lets out a painful cry. Golden Tiger looks grim. Once he captures Qin Yang, he will make him pay dearly. All of this is because they are pursuing him. Qin Yang's team has faced no major dangers along the way. On the night of the 9th day, they camp in a large rock cave. The cave is not deep, but just right to shield them from the wind. They set up tents and light a fire. Mu Wanqing picks up firewood while expressing her thoughts. Sister Hongmei, following you all is so comfortable. It doesn't feel like an adventure at all, more like a picnic. We've been walking and playing all the way. There's no danger, and there's all kinds of delicious food. The most anticipated part of each day is camping time, when we can enjoy fragrant roasted meat. Zhuo Hongmei smiles and instinctively glances at Qin Yang. Under his leadership, the team is indeed sailing smoothly. All dangers seem to have bypassed them. The supplies in their backpacks seem inexhaustible. There's no worry about food or drink. This adventure seems a bit misleading. Where is the danger? Wang Fei is still processing the game. Shui Xiaojing helps clean it. Mu Wanqing and Zhuo Hongmei are gathering firewood. Luo Hong is on guard at the cave entrance. Qin Yang begins to barbecue the first prey, a wild rabbit, turning it while sprinkling salt and spices. Don't be too optimistic. The reason a dangerous place is called dangerous is that it can truly cost lives. And we haven't even touched the edge of it yet, so of course, everything goes smoothly. Zhuo Hongmei and Mu Wanqing place a large bundle of firewood inside the cave. Judging by the quantity, it should be enough. And they gather around Qin Yang to warm themselves by the fire. Are you saying there's really danger ahead? Qin Yang nodded. Once we cross this mountain, we will reach the outskirts of the perilous area. The real dangers are about to come. Starting tomorrow, everyone needs to stay alert and be cautious. A moment of carelessness could cost us our lives. The group felt a chill in their hearts. Is it really that dangerous? Chapter 239, Crossing the Danger Zone. Triggering a life-and-death crisis, Qin Yang's words made everyone uneasy. Wang Fei couldn't help but ask, Brother Yang, do you know what kind of dangers we might face? Qin Yang pondered for a moment. Based on the map and Uncle Zhuo's experiences, I only know that the first danger on the outskirts is the misty poisonous fog, and the second is the Valley of 10,000 Poisons. As for the third danger, I'm not sure what it is. After all, Uncle Zhuo and the others only managed to get through the first barrier. They were wiped out by black insects in the Valley of 10,000 Poisons. On the map, 3 circles were drawn around the outskirts, indicating the 3 dangers. As for whether there are dangers within the perilous area, it wasn't mentioned. The group fell silent. Qin Yang shared the roasted rabbit meat he had prepared. Before coming here, I bought a lot of detoxifying medicine, and with my 5 elements resurrection needle, we should be relatively safe. Everyone, take it easy. Mu Wanqing also smiled and said, I have some family recipe detoxifying medicine that I can share with everyone. Additionally, I've gathered quite a few good medicinal herbs in the past few days, including some that are excellent for making antidotes. Their efficacy is much better than ordinary herbs. I'll prepare some shortly, just in case. Qin Yang nodded. Thank you for your hard work. He tore off a large piece of rabbit leg meat and brought it to the cave entrance. Sister Hong, have a bite. I'll keep watch for a while. Luo Hong took the rabbit meat without hesitation and began to eat heartily. No problem, I can eat while standing guard. It won't affect anything. Since the last acupuncture session, Luo Hong's attitude towards Qin Yang had noticeably changed, becoming much friendlier. Her sharp gaze now held a hint of warmth. At that moment, Wang Fei handed his roasted meat to Zhuo Xiaojing to turn. He took a piece of roasted meat and walked over with a can of beer. Brother Yang, Sister Hong, you both should go inside and rest for a bit. I'll take the first watch tonight. Wang Fei was the oldest and most composed among them, and he had been looking after everyone during this journey. Qin Yang raised his beer can and clinked it with his. Brother Fei, thank you for your hard work. Luo Hong followed him back to the fire pit. She didn't say much, aside from staying close to Mu Wanqing. She was always by Qin Yang's side, silently guarding him. As dawn broke, everyone got up, had breakfast, and packed their bags. Qin Yang checked the intelligence for the day. Fortunately, there was detailed information regarding the 3 dangers on the outskirts of the perilous area. The first danger was the misty, poisonous fog, which had 2 main challenges. The thick fog that could easily cause one to lose direction. Fortunately, the information included methods to navigate through the dense fog have been provided. Secondly, the poisonous miasma can be inhaled, leading to illness. As long as detoxification medicine is taken in advance, one can avoid it. The second challenge is the Valley of 10,000 Poisons, which is filled with various strange poisonous insects, snakes, and scorpions. Caution is absolutely necessary, as some of these pests have no antidote outside of this perilous area. Only within the danger zone can one find the corresponding antidotes. For instance, the black insect is an exceptionally dangerous creature. If bitten, one might withstand a single bite, but prolonged exposure could lead to disability. However, if bitten by more than 3, survival is impossible. The third challenge is the Maze of Giant Stones, which is extremely difficult. Even experts who are proficient in formations may not be able to pass through it. Once the 3 challenges are overcome, one can enter the perilous area, where countless rare elixirs can cure various poisons and extend life. Moreover, there are even elixirs that improve physical condition and enhance martial prowess. Treasures highly sought after by practitioners of martial arts. The team set off again, trekking for 3 hours until they reached a nearby jungle after crossing a mountain peak. From a distance, a thick, impenetrable fog enveloped the depths of the jungle, with visibility extremely low. They couldn't see each other even at close range, making it easy to get lost. Qinyang raised his hand, signaling everyone to stop. Everyone, we have arrived at the first challenge, the fog and miasma. He took out several packets of powder, distributing one to each person, instructing them to take it with mineral water. Mu Wanxing also pulled out her packets, and everyone took one as a precaution. Venturing into the poisonous miasma poses a real life-threatening risk, which is no joke. Next, Qinyang opened his backpack and took out several gas masks, handing one to each person. They put them on and checked for leaks. He then used a long rope to tether everyone together. Qinyang led the group, slowly advancing in the direction indicated by the intel. Step in my footprints and proceed slowly. Do not stray from the group, or you may get lost here. The gas masks were not effective for long periods. Once their efficacy expired, they would lose function, so they needed to leave quickly. Everyone nodded in agreement, carefully feeling their way forward. Fortunately, they had intel to guide them. Qinyang led the group along the correct route, successfully passing through the fog and miasma in the shortest time possible. Zhua Hongmei removed her gas mask and let out a long breath. Wearing this thing made it hard to breathe. It was suffocating. Mu Wanxing also took off her mask, revealing her delicate features. Qinyang smiled. We passed the first challenge. Let us rest for a bit before tackling the second challenge. The Valley of 10,000 Poisons is far more dangerous than this one, 10-fold or even 100-fold. Everyone must be extremely cautious. Zhuo Xiaojing thought of his father's leg injury and felt a lingering fear. Yes, especially that black insect, it's quite troublesome. Everyone needs to be careful. Before entering the valley, everyone sat down to rest, adjusting their conditions and having some food and water. With a full spirit and optimal physical condition, they prepared to face new challenges. Before setting off, Qinyang and Mu Wanxing distributed some antidotes to everyone to prevent bites from poisonous insects, snakes, and ants. In case there was no time to find an antidote later, wait, I'll lead the way, Fei Ge will cover the rear. Everyone else, stay alert to your feet and sides. Eliminate any threats at the first opportunity and try to keep poisonous creatures at bay. Qinyang instructed carefully as he was the first to enter the valley. Zhuo Hongmei and others quickly followed. The Wandu Valley was different from the previous misty forest. Visibility here was excellent. The vast valley was filled with some vegetation and scattered rocks everywhere. Qinyang took out a sword. Although it wasn't a treasured blade, it was made of alloy and very sharp. Whoosh! He swung the sword and severed the head of a poisonous snake. Stay highly vigilant, he reminded, continuing to advance. Whoosh! He threw a dagger, pinning a scorpion to the ground. During this time, following Wang Fei's training, his flying knife skills had improved significantly, surpassing Wang Fei, which left the instructor quite frustrated. After practicing for over a decade, had it come to this? Along the way, under Qinyang's thorough clearing, everyone had a safe passage and had covered half the distance. During this time, Zhuo Hongmei, Mu Wanxing, Luo Hong, Zhuo Xiaojing, and others had also killed quite a few poisonous creatures, especially Wang Fei, whose kill count was second only to Qinyang. Yanggu. It seems there's nothing to fear in Wandu Valley. Zhuo Xiaojing laughed lightly after slaying a poisonous snake. Qinyang frowned. Don't be careless. Be careful not to capsize. Zhuo Xiaojing shut his mouth, but didn't he take it seriously? Hey, look, what is this? He pointed to a cute red bud. Qinyang was alarmed. Don't touch it. Unfortunately, it was too late. Zhuo Xiaojing's finger brushed against the red bud. It slowly opened, revealing a swarm of black insects inside. Chapter 240. The Grim Reaper approaches. Life hangs by a thread. Qinyang's scalp tingled. His heart trembled. An unprecedented terror enveloped him. Damn it, Zhuo Xiaojing. What on earth did you do? Open the gates of hell. These black insects, such terrifying creatures, we couldn't even hide from them. Why poke at a flower bud? Now look what's happened. A nest of black insects, densely packed, and in such large numbers. Once disturbed, Would there be any escape for them? He was on the edge of panic. Placing his index finger to his lips, he signaled everyone to be silent. They must not disturb the Grim Reaper. Indeed, these black insects were the Grim Reaper. Once, Zhuo Wuyang had witnessed teammates being devoured by countless black insects, leaving not even a bone behind. These individuals were all skilled fighters, their martial prowess surpassing that of Wang Fei and Luo Hong. Still unable to stop the attack of the black insects. The deaths are too tragic. No bones left, and Zhuo Wuyang himself was bitten by one of the insects. Just one. It caused him internal injuries that were hard to heal, and his martial arts skills declined. From time to time, he would suffer from it again. The pain was unbearable. Over the years, he had been tormented by illness. How could his younger generation repeat the same mistakes? At this moment, Zhuo Xiaojing also realized that he had gotten himself into big trouble. His face turned pale with fear. He stood frozen, his muscles stiffened, unable to move. Qinyang noticed something was wrong. He exchanged a glance with Zhuo Hongmei, placing his palm under Zhuo Xiaojing's armpit. He exerted a subtle force, lifting him into the air and gently tossing him, making him drift 2 zhang away. Just before landing, Zhuo Hongmei caught him, ensuring a safe landing. The entire process was coordinated seamlessly, without making a sound. Everyone let out a quiet sigh of relief, the tension in their hearts easing slightly. Qinyang dared not make a sound, and immediately signaled for everyone to leave quickly, because the black insects in the flower buds were stirring restlessly. Some had already spread their wings, seemingly ready to take flight. Everyone gasped in silent horror. Their pupils contracted, fear gripping them. Once the black insects took to the air, the chances of survival for them would be slim to none. Qinyang's forehead was drenched in sweat. Run. Not caring about alerting the black insects, Qinyang urged in a low, urgent voice. He grabbed the nearest Mu Wanqing and used all his strength to execute the sky step, racing towards the direction of the 3rd checkpoint. Wang Fei pulled Zhuo Xiaojing and quickly followed suit. Luo Hong was not slow either. Almost simultaneously, she stretched her long legs and chased after Qinyang. Zhuo Hongmei lagged a bit, falling behind. Oh no. Perhaps due to panic, Zhuo Hongmei's legs weakened, and she stepped on a sharp stone, falling to the ground. Qinyang heard the commotion and thought it was bad news. He immediately let go of Mu Wanqing. You all keep running. I'll go save Sister Hongmei. Zhuo Xiaojing wanted to turn back as well, but Wang Fei held him tightly. At this moment, every second counted and brought more danger. Having Qinyang return alone was enough. After all, Qinyang was the strongest, the fastest. Having one more person would only complicate matters. The other 4 hesitated for a few seconds, then continued to flee. Qinyang returned to Zhuo Hongmei's side and helped her up. Sister Hongmei, are you okay? Zhuo Hongmei moved her foot. I'm fine. The next second, both of them heard a buzzing sound. Turning around, their faces changed dramatically. The black insects had taken to the air. Qinyang pulled Zhuo Hongmei and ran for their lives. A portion of the black insects sensed the presence of blood and chased after the 2 of them. The flying speed of the black insects was incredibly fast. Qinyang heard the sounds behind him getting closer and closer. He didn't dare to look back, exerting all his strength to run wildly. Unfortunately, Zhuo Hongmei's abilities were somewhat lacking, and without the top-level lightness skill, treading the heavens, she was significantly slower than Qinyang. Dragging her along, they couldn't run fast. In less than a minute, they were caught up by some black insects. Qinyang exerted himself and pushed Zhuo Hongmei more than 10 meters away. Run fast. I'll hold them off. He drew his long sword and aimed at one of the insects, slashing down. Unfortunately, the black insect was extremely agile and easily dodged the strike in midair. Qinyang's face turned pale as he desperately swung his sword, creating a wall of blades to fend off the insect attacks while quickly retreating. As Zhuo Hongmei ran, she glanced back and saw that Qinyang was temporarily safe. She felt both touched and worried. Qinyang continued to wield his sword, but the pressure mounted as more and more black insects appeared. Initially, there were only 3 insects, which he could easily defend against. When the number increased to 5, he struggled. By the time there were 8, a gap finally appeared in the blade wall. One black insect circled around the edge and charged at Qinyang. Realizing he was about to be bitten, he felt helpless. If he withdrew his sword to defend, more insects would swarm him, completely overwhelming him. Suddenly, a red figure appeared in front of him, blocking the deadly attack. Zhuo Hongmei's right arm was bitten by a black insect, and her entire arm began to turn black. Sister Hongmei. Qinyang was stunned, worriedly glancing at her. Seeing she hadn't fallen, he could no longer care about anything else. He quickly pulled out a grenade from his spatial storage, removed the pin, held it for a few seconds, and then threw it into the swarm of insects. Boom! With a loud explosion. Qinyang didn't even check to see how many insects had been killed. He picked up Zhuo Hongmei and ran as fast as he could. 10 seconds later, he heard a buzzing sound behind him. The black insects were chasing them again. Qinyang was terrified, his hair standing on end. He silently called upon the summoning system. Upgrade treading the heavens. Current points, 550, Treading the heavens can only be upgraded by one level to reach the major completion state. Do you want to upgrade? Upgrade. Qinyang didn't hesitate. Ding. Consumed 200 points. Treading the heavens upgraded to level 3, major completion state. Achieved the first realm, floating on water. Remaining points, 350. In an instant, Qinyang felt he had gained a new understanding of treading the heavens. His skills and techniques for circulating his vital energy had improved greatly. As he ran, his movements became faster and lighter, especially with each leap and landing. The distance increased by double. His speed surged, and even while carrying Zhuo Hongmei, he was faster than when he was unencumbered. At that moment, he finally noticed that the buzzing sound behind him was not getting closer, but was gradually fading away. He turned to look back. The speed of the black insect couldn't keep up with his running pace, and the distance between them grew wider. Qinyang's heart didn't relax. Instead, it grew more anxious. The color on Zhuo Hongmei's arm had darkened further, and her complexion had worsened. Chapter 241. Abundant Spiritual Herbs. Hands getting soft from picking the darkening of her arm indicated that her injuries were worsening, and her pale face signified the spread of poison. At any moment, it could become life-threatening. Qinyang quickened his pace, pushing the treading sky step to its limits. At this moment, there was only one way to save Zhuo Hongmei: to enter the dangerous area at the fastest speed, find the right spiritual herb, and give it to her in time. While running, Qinyang took a moment to check his personal information panel to see the changes in his abilities. Host name, Qinyang. Host age, 22 years. Theoretical lifespan, 120 years. System level, level 2. 3 pieces of information triggered yesterday. 1 piece today. Life skills, soul-consuming hand, level 4 perfect. God level driving, level 3 proficient. Beast language, level 4 perfect. Multilingual, level 4 perfect. Sharpshooter, level 4 perfect. Brush of Wonders, level 4 perfect. 5 elements resurrection needle, level 4 perfect. God level singing voice, level 4 perfect. Special skills, personal space, level 3. 10 cubic meters, golden eyes, level 1. Scanning range, 1 meter. Sound transmission, level 4. Transmission range, 30 meters. Combat skills, combat techniques, level 4 perfect. Empty hand, level 4 perfect. Invisible, heart-crushing kill, level 4 perfect. A palm to crush the heart, star plucking and moon grabbing, level 1 beginner. Capturing dragons and tigers, treading sky step, level 3 major achievement. Floating on water, secret cultivation method, none. Combat power level, intermediate battle general, endurance agent. Power evaluation, with the star plucking hand and treading sky step. Comparable to a peak advanced bright martial artist. Unexpectedly, the treading sky step leveled up, reaching the major achievement realm, and the power evaluation also increased significantly, rising from an advanced bright martial artist to now being comparable to a peak advanced bright martial artist. Although it was just a small step, it already meant being invincible within the same realm. Such strength was remarkable. One more step forward would allow him to cross into a higher realm and join the ranks of dark martial artists, which would be a qualitative change. Carrying Zhuo Hongmei, Qinyang finally caught up with the others after running 3 kilometers. He glanced back. The black insect had long disappeared, likely having retreated. He saw Mu Wanqing tending to Wang Fei's wounds. What's wrong with Fij? Qinyang asked anxiously. Mu Wanqing explained. We were running too fast and disturbed some poisonous creatures. Fij got bitten by a snake, so I'm applying some medicine to disinfect. Qinyang felt a bit worried. Is it serious? Mu Wanqing shook her head. I gave him some medicine and applied some externally. He'll be fine. Qinyang's heart relaxed slightly. Zhuo Xiaojing noticed that Qinyang was still holding his sister and felt something was off. Sister, what's wrong with you? Qinyang didn't wait for Zhuo Hongmei to respond and took the lead in speaking. Your sister was bitten by a black bug. Ah, Zhuo Xiaojing exclaimed, but was interrupted by Qinyang's wave of his hand, as if a crowing rooster had suddenly had its neck seized. Qinyang gently placed Zhuo Hongmei on the ground, took out a silver needle, and performed the 5 elements resurrection needle technique, sealing all the major meridians on her right arm. He then used a special method to protect her heart meridian to prevent the toxin from attacking her heart, temporarily saving her life. After a dazzling display of needlework, Qinyang stood up. We can't waste time. We must break through immediately. Only by venturing deep into the dangerous area can we find the spiritual medicine to help Sister Hongmei detoxify. I'm worried that if we delay, it could become life-threatening. Zhuo Xiaojing looked at his sister's darkened right arm, feeling immense pain. It's all my fault. If I hadn't touched that flower bud, nothing would have happened. He pounded his chest in frustration. Zhuo Hongmei smiled faintly, comforting him. Xiaojing, don't be sad. I'm fine. Without saying another word, Qinyang picked up Zhuo Hongmei and dashed ahead like the wind towards the 3rd challenge, the stone maze, with everyone following closely behind. As they entered the stone maze, Qinyang looked up. The giant stones were tall and large, mostly rectangular in shape. Some were placed alone, while others were stacked together, forming circles of maze-like patterns in a strange arrangement. Outside the maze, the stones seemed motionless. But as the group stepped inside, the stones immediately began to move, some silently, others with loud crashes, and some even floated in midair as if an invisible force were lifting them. One couldn't help but marvel at the might of nature. Qin Yang was certain that without guidance, they would be crushed into a pulp by the stones within 3 minutes. Fortunately, he had an advantage. With the information he received, he led everyone swiftly through the gaps between the stones. Each time they faced imminent danger, they managed to take a crucial step and escape from peril, finding a way out. An hour later, boom, a giant stone crashed down behind them as they escaped the stone maze. Taking a deep breath, they were greeted by a refreshing scent mixed with the fragrance of herbs. Looking around, they found themselves in a vast valley brimming with life. On the slopes, by the streams, and next to the forests, various unknown medicinal herbs were growing, many of which were precious medicines that couldn't be bought outside. There were also all sorts of rare spiritual herbs. Each one was a coveted treasure for martial artists. Mu Wanqing was nearly ecstatic. Wow. This is the red fruit that enhances power. This is the snow lotus that opens meridians. What is this? The immortal grass that brings the dead back to life? Ah, this is the 9-leaf grass. It can heal Grandpa's leg injury. Regardless of Mu Wanqing's excitement, Qin Yang quickly searched for the Xianling grass to treat Zhuahongmei. This type of spiritual herb. It is specifically for treating the poison from black insects. Soon, Qin Yang found a concentration of miraculous herbs on a small hillside. In an area of less than 10 square meters, there were surprisingly 9 spirit herbs. Qin Yang picked 6 and rushed back to Zhuahongmei's side, stuffing one of the spirit herbs into her mouth. Zhuahongmei's lips turned purple as she struggled to chew the herb. By the time she had eaten half, the darkness on her arm began to slowly fade. Once she finished it completely, her complexion returned to normal, and her purple lips regained their rosy hue. After waiting another 10 minutes, Zhuahongmei's poison was completely relieved. She stood up slowly and gently moved her legs. Yangzi, am I okay? Zhuahongmei couldn't believe it. Qin Yang smiled happily. Yes, you are. Shui Xiaojing jumped up excitedly. Sister. He felt both like laughing and crying. If anything happened to his sister, he would never forgive himself. Thank you, Yanggu. He sincerely thanked Qin Yang. Qin Yang patted his shoulder. Silly boy, your sister is just like my sister. No need to be so polite. Zhuahongmei stared at Qin Yang, her heart filled with countless words that she couldn't express. Next, Zhuahongmei, Shui Xiaojing, Wang Fei, and Luo Hong set up camp in a flat, dry area by the creek, building a tent, making a fire, and cooking. They planned to camp here for the night, and would head back home after gathering the miraculous herbs tomorrow. Both Mu Wanqing and Qin Yang were healers capable of distinguishing between ordinary medicinal materials, precious medicines, and rare miraculous herbs. The two of them set off separately to begin picking various herbs. After a long while, Mu Wanqing's large backpack was almost full, and she had to call Luo Hong to bring another bag to help her gather more herbs. Qin Yang carried an even larger backpack, continuously picking and stuffing it as if it could never be filled. He even glanced deep into the valley, where an ethereal aura lingered, mysterious and alluring. Perhaps there were even older and more potent miraculous herbs there? Chapter 242, Great Adventure, Great Terror. Before entering the valley, Qin Yang returned to the campsite. He took out many rare miraculous herbs from his backpack. Each one emitted a delightful fragrance, making even a breath of air feel refreshing. He distributed these herbs to Wang Fei, Zhuahongmei, and Shui Xiaojing. These herbs had significant effects on improving physical condition, enhancing roots, and elevating cultivation levels. Since you have nothing to do, just eat these and absorb their energy. I look forward to seeing your breakthroughs. Wang Fei was very touched. He hadn't expected there would be such benefits from this trip to a dangerous area. Looking back, with Qin Yang's wisdom, he must have anticipated that there would be miraculous herbs in the danger zone. Bringing him along was meant to provide him with a great opportunity. Thank you, Yanggu. Wang Fei solemnly accepted the miraculous herbs. In his heart, he felt even more grateful to Qin Yang. He vowed to follow him for life and remain loyal. He sought a place to take it. Zhuahongmei and Shui Xiaojing didn't show much reaction. They were all on the same side. Everything was kept in their hearts. Qin Yang smiled and instructed them. I'll go take a look in the valley. There might be better medicinal herbs. He turned to leave, but was called back by Zhuahongmei. Yangzi, be careful. After experiencing life and death, she was particularly worried that something might happen to Qin Yang. He smiled at her and reassured, it's fine. If there is real danger, I'll come back immediately. Zhuahongmei nodded with a smile. Then hurry up and come back. We'll have the meat ready by the time you return. Alone, Qin Yang ventured deeper into the valley. From the outside, it was hard to tell. Once inside, he discovered that the valley was quite deep. After walking 7 or 8 miles, he still hadn't reached the end. The air was filled with a mystical aura. Even a breath felt refreshing and rejuvenating. There were various precious herbs and spiritual medicines along the way, in a density clearly higher than outside. Fortunately, Qin Yang had a personal space. The medicinal materials didn't take up much room, and he could fit as many as he wanted. Once things settled down, he planned to consume more to enhance his physical condition and elevate his combat power to new heights. As he walked, Qinyang suddenly sensed something was off. In such a large valley, why were there no wild animals? Was there some unknown danger? He had to be extremely cautious, gathering herbs while keeping a watchful eye, fearing that danger might suddenly appear and take his life. Continuing on, he noticed that the fragrance in the air had grown stronger, an enticing scent that drew him in. He instinctively followed the aroma. The sound of flowing water led him to a deep pool at the end of a small stream. Above the pool, a small waterfall cascaded down, shrouded in mist. In the center of the deep pool was a massive stone, about 3 meters on each side, with a spiritual herb growing in its center. From a distance, he could see a rainbow of colors emanating from it. Huh, is that a rainbow created by the mist? He looked up. Sunlight could hardly reach this spot, and the light wasn't too strong. How could there be a rainbow? Qinyang leaped lightly onto the giant stone. Upon closer inspection, he exclaimed, "Wow, this spiritual herb is incredible." It wasn't a mere optical illusion, but rather the herb itself radiating a spectrum of colors. The small sapling stood less than a meter tall, bearing a fruit the size of a baby's fist, looking crystal clear while emitting a colorful glow. Especially as he approached, the rich fragrance of the herb was intoxicating. A whiff cleared his mind, and a deep breath felt like it opened up his entire being. This wasn't just a spiritual herb, it was an immortal medicine. It embodied the essence of the mountains and rivers, absorbing the essence of the sun and moon. A mythical product only found in legends. Based on his inherited knowledge, Qinyang recognized the name of this immortal herb, the seven-colored creation fruit. The effects are extraordinary, capturing the essence of creation. It astonishes the heavens and moves the spirits. The benefits are beyond description. Qinyang was so excited that he trembled all over. It was a perilous journey. The greatest opportunity was this colorful fruit of creation. Eating it would bring immense benefits. But first, he needed to check if this celestial fruit was ripe. The fruit was plump and vibrant in color, especially radiating a distinct seven-colored glow. It should be ripe and ready for picking. Qinyang was overwhelmed with excitement. He slowly approached and extended his right hand. Boom! A loud noise suddenly erupted behind him, and the ground shook. Qinyang was startled. Turning around, he saw a massive black bear, 3 meters tall, standing on a boulder, only 2 meters away from him. At that moment, the bear's eyes were wide with fury, letting out rhythmic roars of anger. It was clearly enraged to the extreme, ready to launch a deadly attack at any moment. What the heck? Qinyang quickly retreated, trying to distance himself from the bear. Although he possessed strength comparable to a peak advanced martial artist, this bear was tall and robust, exuding a terrifying aura. He could feel without trying that he was no match for it. If things went wrong, he might meet his end here today. Fortunately, he was skilled in beast language. "Hey, big brother bear, how are you?" Qinyang greeted proactively. "Is this your place?" A flicker of suspicion crossed the bear's eyes. "Of course. Are you trying to steal my celestial herb?" Qinyang instinctively waved his hands. No. I thought this was a no-owner item, so..." The bear snorted coldly. "Now that you know it has an owner, why don't you get lost?" Qinyang cursed inwardly. Damn, this bear has become sentient. Besides not speaking human language, it's quite clever. Not only is it vigilant, but it also acts tough. Qinyang forced a smile. "Brother bear, can we negotiate? How about you give me half of the fruit?" The bear glared at him. You want more? If you don't leave, do you believe I can crush you with one paw?" Faced with the temptation of the celestial fruit, how could Qinyang easily give up? "Brother bear, don't be angry. Half one do, how about 1/3? The bear fell silent. A massive paw descended from the sky without warning, aimed directly at the top of Qinyang's head. Qinyang wanted to use a lethal move to counter it. But suddenly a strong sense of danger surged in his heart. If he didn't retract his hand, his entire arm might be broken. He hurriedly withdrew his attack, using a swift movement to lower his body and escape the bear's paw in a rather embarrassing manner. "Hey, this little fellow is quite slippery." The black bear was slightly surprised, but didn't give up the chase. It lunged forward, swinging its long legs and arms, with 2 enormous paws coming at him with fierce momentum. Qinyang felt the threat of death and couldn't care less about the celestial herb, running away desperately. The giant black bear forced Qinyang out of the water's edge, but did not pursue him further. The rainbow fruit of creation was within reach, but he dared not wander too far. Qinyang felt gloomy. The supreme elixir was so close yet unattainable, a feeling that was simply unbearable. He left the water and hid in a remote corner. From his space, he took out many rare spiritual herbs, carefully selecting a few with the best effects that would most help improve his strength. He swallowed them all at once, then sat cross-legged, adjusting his breathing to absorb their power. In a corner of the valley, Qinyang sat with his legs crossed. His vital energy circulated, and white mist rose from his head. Under the nourishment of the spiritual herbs, his skin, muscles, bones, and internal organs underwent a transformation, becoming rejuvenated. It was a refreshing experience. His physical strength, speed, flexibility, and agility all saw significant improvements. The true energy within him also showed noticeable changes. How much had changed? Qinyang couldn't quite tell. He checked his personal information panel. Host name, Qinyang. Host age, 22 years. Theoretical lifespan, 130 years. System level. Level 2, 3 pieces of yesterday's triggered information. 1 piece of today's triggered information. Life skills, soul snatch hand, level 4 perfect. Master driving, level 3 proficient. Beast language, level 4 perfect. Multilingual, level 4 perfect. Sharpshooter, level 4 perfect. Artistic talent, level 4 perfect. 5 elements resurrection needle, level 4 perfect. Divine singing voice, level 4 perfect. Special skills, personal space, level 3, 10 cubic meters. Golden eyes, level 1. Scanning range, 1 meter. Whispering, level 4. Communication range, 30 meters. Combat skills, fighting technique, level 4 perfect. Empty-handed mastery, level 4 perfect. Invisible, heart-crushing, level 4 perfect. A single palm strike, star snatching and moon grabbing, level 1 beginner. Capturing dragons and binding tigers, sky treading step, level 3 great achievement. Walking on water, cultivation secret method, none. Combat power level, advanced warrior, various spiritual herbs, strength evaluation, with star snatching hand and sky treading step, can match beginner dark warriors. Upon closer inspection, Qinyang found that all his skills remained unchanged. However, there were 3 notable changes in other aspects. The first change was in lifespan, which increased from 120 to 130 years. This was the first time his lifespan had changed. As a practitioner, achieving immortality was the ultimate goal, and every bit of increased lifespan represented significant progress. Of course, as a martial artist, Qinyang did not take this too dramatically. However, he had a feeling that the increase in lifespan was not just about living an extra 10 years. After consuming these spiritual herbs, his aptitude, roots, and comprehension all improved to varying degrees. This was an intangible advancement, and also his greatest gain. The second change was in combat power level. It turned out that he was just a mid-level warrior. Now, he has become a high-level warrior. This is a strengthening of the physical body. The strength of the physical body is the foundation of all martial arts. With the foundation improved, the overall strength will naturally rise as well. The third change is the enhancement of overall strength. Previously, he could rival the peak of high-level visible warriors. Now, he has crossed a significant boundary and reached the level of hidden warriors. Even if he is just in the initial stage, he is much stronger than the peak of visible warriors. Sometimes, changes in level cannot be compensated for by mere numbers. At this moment, Qinyang felt a surge of confidence. He had the courage to compete with the giant bear. He hurried back to the edge of the deep pool. The giant bear was indeed still guarding the spot, glancing intentionally or unintentionally at a certain area. Fortunately, the 7-colored fruit of creation was still there. The giant bear had waited for hundreds of years, so it certainly wouldn't care about this little bit of time. Only when it was fully ripe would it reach the perfect state. Eating it then would yield the best effect. The giant bear was powerful and, of course, unafraid of any accidents. Hey, kid, why are you here again? Qinyang chuckled. Brother bear, let us make a deal. Share the fruit with me, and we'll both benefit. The giant bear was furious. You're asking for death. It raised its massive paw and swiped down. This time, with his significantly enhanced strength, Qinyang was naturally not afraid. He gathered his energy and met the bear's paw with his own. Bang! There was a loud crash. Qinyang managed to withstand the blow, but his arms went numb, and his palms throbbed with pain. Damn! The bear's strength is truly incredible. It was absurdly powerful. It seemed he couldn't confront it head-on. Despite its large and clumsy appearance, it certainly had an advantage in speed. He needed to leverage his own agility and engage in a battle of evasion. Bang! In the next moment, Qinyang was hit again by the bear's paw. Feeling dizzy as if struck by a meteor, his whole body felt like it was falling apart. His arms hung limply, his palms swollen and hot. His feet sank deep into the rocks. Damn, this big bear can fight. The bear's paw had countless variations. No matter how Qinyang dodged, it could accurately strike him, forcing him to take the hits head-on. The result was that this blow was even more powerful than the last, leaving Qinyang dazed. The giant bear's massive body swayed slightly. Huh, you didn't turn into mush? Too bad you still have to die? Without a second thought, it raised its huge paw again, looming over him. At this moment, Qinyang had already lost the ability to fight back. His arms felt like they were falling apart, and he couldn't muster any strength. The only thing he could move was his legs. He used a swift foot technique to narrowly avoid a fatal blow. This was not a battle, but a desperate escape. Just managing to dodge a paw, Qinyang decisively gave up on the struggle. Survival was the priority. He stretched out his long legs and ran for his life. Unfortunately, the big black bear made a mistake once, but how could it be fooled again? It chased beyond the range of the deep pool, pursuing for several hundred meters without willing to give up, relentlessly attacking Qinyang. It seemed determined to not rest until this annoying pest was dealt with. Despite its large and clumsy appearance, the big black bear was surprisingly fast. When it ran, it was hardly slower than Qinyang. No matter how far Qinyang escaped, he could not shake it off. The thunderous footsteps echoed behind him. In a panic, Qinyang found himself in a dead end. Ahead was a sheer cliff, and towering peaks flanked him on either side. Behind him was the terrifying big black bear. With nowhere to run, he gritted his teeth, stomped his foot, and leaped onto the cliff. Using the protruding rocks for support, he climbed with the skill of a master. Indeed, the technique was impressive. On the nearly vertical cliff, he climbed higher and higher. Each foothold allowed him to gain more than 10 meters in height. By the time the big black bear caught up, Qinyang was already 60 meters in the air. The enraged big black bear roared twice, suddenly picking up a boulder the size of a basketball. Whoosh! It hurled the stone at Qinyang, who was now airborne, with no way to avoid it. The only place to leverage was the cliff's rock face. Unfortunately, the big black bear seemed to have calculated his landing point perfectly. Just as Qinyang used the rock for leverage, the boulder came crashing down. In midair, facing the massive stone, he could only strike with his palm. Bang! The boulder collided with his hand, shattering into pieces. However, Qinyang was sent flying towards the rock wall. The tremendous recoil impacted him entirely, injuring his internal organs and causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood. His arm and palm were severely injured again, leaving him completely weakened. It would take at least 10 days to half a month for him to recover fully. What was most critical was that, at this moment, he was hurtling towards the rock wall at high speed. Without the palm to cushion his fall, he lost balance, with his head directed towards the wall. It would be like a watermelon hitting a rock. His brain would splatter, and he would be as good as dead. The big black bear laughed in satisfaction. That roar was a celebration. Whoosh! Qinyang crashed into the rock wall. In a bizarre turn of events, there was no sound of a breaking shell, no scream, not even a whisper. Just like that, he vanished without a trace. Chapter 244. Mysterious Cave. Unexpected encounter indeed, he had disappeared. Qinyang's body did not fall from the heights, but vanished without any warning. There was no sign of life or death, which was very eerie. The big black bear was puzzled. After waiting for a while without seeing the body tumble down, it thought about going up to check. Yet, it felt an inexplicable sense of worry. The unknown always instilled fear in one's heart. In the end, it had no choice but to retreat. The celestial fruit was about to fall, and it needed to consume it at the first opportunity. In order to shed his mortal shell and advance further, at this moment, Qinyang was completely bewildered. He thought that crashing into the stone wall would surely lead to his demise. Unexpectedly, behind the stone wall, there was a hidden world. For some unknown reason, Qinyang triggered the unlocking conditions of this hidden space and directly barged in. This space resembled a cave, with the entrance located high on a sheer cliff. From the outside, it looked like a stone wall. To an ordinary person, it indeed felt like stone. However, as Qinyang approached, he could clearly see all the scenery below the cliff. He noticed that the large black bear had left. Yet, Qinyang did not rush to leave. Instead, he walked into the cave to see if there was an old man or perhaps a legendary manual. To his surprise, there really was. The cave was quite simple, with only a stone bed and a stone table. There was nothing else. The stone bed was completely empty. But on the stone table, two items were displayed: an ancient long sword and a box made of an unknown material. Qinyang rushed to the stone table, eager to open the box and see what treasures it held. Was it a pill that could increase his power by 100 years? Or a fruit that could add 500 years to his lifespan? Unfortunately, the box was locked and could not be opened. After searching around, he couldn't find a key. What the heck? Was this a joke? With no other options, Qinyang picked up the ancient long sword and gave it a forceful pull. Clang! The sword was drawn from its sheath. A flash of white light appeared, and then quickly faded. Qinyang was jolted. Could it really be a treasure sword? He swung it casually, aiming at the stone table. Whoosh! A corner of the stone table was silently sliced off. Thud! It fell to the ground. Qinyang was stunned, questioning whether this stone table was truly made of stone. He touched it, squeezed it, and pounded it. It felt incredibly hard. Definitely harder than ordinary stones. What the heck? This ancient sword cuts through stone like it's tofu. Not believing it, Qinyang wielded the sword and began cutting at the stones on the cave walls. Neatly cut stones fell to the ground, slightly expanding the cave's space. Ha! It truly is a treasure sword. Qinyang held the sword aloft, unable to part with it. After a moment's thought, he decided to give the sword a cool name: Bear Slayer's Sword. That's right, Bear Slayer's Sword. The large black bear had chased him to the ends of the earth. Once he gained strength, he would definitely slay the bear and avenge his humiliation. Suddenly, Qinyang glanced at the Bear Slayer's sword and then at the lock on the box. Bang! Qinyang activated his brute force unlocking mode. The lock didn't T-break, but a gap was opened. Qinyang felt a twinge of pain for the sword and checked the blade. Thankfully, there was not a single scratch, not even a mark. Qinyang felt relieved. Bang! 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 3 consecutive slashes. Crack! The lock broke. Eagerly, Qinyang opened the box. Inside was a piece of white jade slip. Qinyang reached out to pick up the jade slip for a closer look. Creak! A faint cracking sound emerged. On the jade slip, cracks began to spread. 1, 2, 3 in a moment. A complete jade slip shattered into countless particles, eventually turning into dust. A gust of wind swept by,